learned things today. That is gonna sit on my mind for a while. I'm gonna pray for that nigga. I'm putting the bird dog on the table. We're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna talk about it further. I'm just flabbergasted. That's all I am. I am flabbergasted.
Fuck. So Bel-Air.
Kimmy has decided to go to another event, which has become the talk of every single video posted by almost every single content creator, but I haven't seen a single content creator actually dig through the event itself in question. It's always clips of other people talking over the same clip, but nobody showing the event in full. Fortunately, I asked about this live yesterday, and we are going to actually go through this because I was given the event itself in question. It is XOXO'24. And XOXO'24 was suggested to me by Mr. BuggyCon, which I think...
Bug.
Yes, editor for Yellow Flash. XOXO Festival. And of course, the dislikes and comments were disabled. But I did tell them that I'd give them a shout out, and this is that shout out. Put it on the screen so that you know it's real. Boom. This is probably the most important part of my job. Whenever I sit down and I do a research phase of work looking into a situation, a lot of it tends to start sometimes on Twitter. Some of it sometimes starts on alternative websites, but a lot of it starts on Twitter. And this is the harder part of the job. Because anybody can be like Stuttering Craig and call out things that are done in an event. And this is not hate towards Stuttering Craig, but I will put this out there. The hardest part of our job is making sure people are on the same page. The reason that job is hard is because when it's time for us to do the work, and the work in this sense is when we have to sit down and actually talk about the shit. How the fuck can I go off of a single clip versus the entire event? This is where a lot of us are faltering when it comes to, quote, the culture war. I don't care if you call yourself a culture warrior, if you're just a person who likes watching people on either side of the affair. History matters, and documenting things matters. Because when you're going to go into a conversation, or a debate, whatever the fuck you want to call it, one of the things you have to be able to do is determine that this is real, what we're talking about. I'm sure I've said this before, I'm going to keep saying it because it's so important that people remember it. It is so fucking important to actually show the full clip. Full context matters at all times. Because without the full context, when you have yourself an Andy Pants versus the Act Man gets to run away from situations like this, where you don't say exactly what happened. It's like dealing with a murderer. Murderer insists that he didn't kill anybody. So you have to put his crimes directly in front of him. You gotta go ahead and open your eyes and look at what you've done to him. Just put a good old season 1 Dexter Morgan. However, a lot of the time, people get stuck in the reeds. And they just get lazy. And they copy other people's work. And this then leads to the problem that I described. Where you have people quoting other people, and pulling the same clip from the same situations. How easy would it have been for Stuttering Craig to just put a link as a second follow-up to this tweet? All you had to do. You want to pull out this single clip from the event? Okay. You don't even mention what event she's at. You don't mention the event. Nobody has the context for where it is. You only focus on Elon Musk. For the purposes of attracting attention, it's not even in the millions, but we're not even dealing with millions of impressions of views. Of all those 202 bookmarks, and of the 4.3k likes, and the 483 retweets. Any amount of attention towards the event would have been useful, especially for the purposes of content creating. Because don't you want people to see what you're talking about? Don't you want them to see the problem that you're defining? When people say things like wokeness, what the fuck is that? That's just the thing that people like to spurg about because they don't have actual talking points. Isn't it important for you to let them hear the words come out of their mouth themselves and then start sputtering saying, well, that could be anything? Really? The DEI, the diversity, equity, and inclusion that Bel-Air specifically says she wants to invoke through the business, through her methodology of representation as joy, where she is on record stating, I want to be brought in as a part of the original team on the product so I can be able to guide the direction that the product goes in, rather than being brought in afterwards as a consultant only, where I can be able to only give suggestions. Of course, removing from the context here that as a ESG firm that is contracted by the people who wrote the blank check, that you then become an enforcer for what they say must happen on the product in order for them to get their money. Don't you think it's important that when somebody's getting a confession, that you let them confess? Not just summarize, let them confess? Just simple things for just simple food for thought. Just simple food for thought. And that's going on Twitter. Anyways. Kim Bel-Air. Sweet Summer Child. 21-minute segment from the XOXO festival. Comments are disabled, likes are disabled, posted 3 days ago. Only 24k views. That's crazy. That's honestly crazy in terms of actual numbers and reach. Alright. I have to pop this out. And then I have to pop this out twice. Boom.
So welcome to the stage, Kim Bel-Air.
Hello. I'm
Whoever's
Kim
your
Bel-Air.
graphic
In my
designer
circles, I'm
needs to
largely
be
considered,
fired.
I think, of
Well, if you have seen any of the updates on the Sweet Baby company and website, they have changed the entire layout of the site to now remove credibility from their involvement with projects, only sampling a bit of things here and there. What I find interesting about that is that in choosing to do that, you actually justify you not being able to say that you're not involved. Because what are you hiding?
Yep.
If
Yeah.
you can't talk about the company's works that you were on, you actually reach the other side of the, you literally don't know who they are. It's literally not stated publicly. Yeah, nothing's stated publicly. So why should this company be involved in any project, and why should they be receiving money and rewards if they can't take pride in the work that they do? Because it's not like you're an ad company. You're not like the people who are responsible for the rebrand of CC's Pizza. That fucking, I forget the goddamn character's name, CC Pizzaroli. Big fat guy that looks like fucking Carnival Barker. You're not like an ad company that does thousands upon thousands of clients, both large and commercially small. And you don't have to put your public portfolio out there, because then you'd be competing with business. Because if you post about the customers that you've serviced before, outside of the context of what they signed on an agreement to show off, that they would possibly poach your clients from you. It's not one of those situations. Because there are thousands of products. This is the Cat Williams argument. There are thousands of products that are going through the Hollyweird system of WGA acting. The WGA scriptwriters, the SAG-AFTRA actors, the BAFTA actors, small content creators, and professional voice actors, either represented by an agent or solo represented by themselves. There are thousands of products and projects that they could be working on at any one point in time. And you're telling me that in your infinite wisdom, you decided you're going to remove your company's coverage. And you're doing so to escape accountability for the demon that you made. By all arguments, have the opinions that you do about ESG and about diversity and equity. But Why not take accountability for the firestorm that was started by your client, which is to say your employee? Because you're working as a contractor. So if they're signed to an accountability contract, they're also signed to a morality clause. I would have a morality clause. Because, yes, I believe that we should have diversity, equity, and inclusion, because I believe in representation as joy, because I believe even white men should be capable of playing as minority characters. But, in the pursuit of playing as those characters, I also don't believe that people should be harassing people off the internet. And that's why I'm firing Kiss Kindred for choosing to harass a random Brazilian man for his choice to not play our games. He doesn't have to play our games. That's his decision. But I don't believe that we should be making decisions on his behalf for him by then trying to get his account banned so he can no longer play any of those other games. Because what if he was a potential fan of us and this is what pushes him away? I want people to be able to come to the table equally, even-handedly. Even if you're saying bullshit, this works out for you better. Because if the problem is people saw you and 2 of your employees basically covering your asses, cut off the fucking dead weight. You don't need this person in the company. Unless he is that motivative. Now, of course, we've already covered how they think and how they behave. We know what Chris Kindred, we know what Maya, I'm forgetting their last name, believes. We know what Grant T. Roberts tweets like. We know what Amy Lee Shaw tweets like. We know what Kim Bel-Air tweets like. And we also know what David Bedard tweets like. Because they've all made statements on LinkedIn, Twitter, and elsewhere. But wouldn't it work out better for you if in your approach you just called a spade a spade? Either say, no, this is not what I believe. Or, I do believe this, but you've mischaracterized me. Or, yes, that's what I believe, and fuck you, because I don't like people like you. Hate me, but hate me honestly. Don't be tongue-in-cheek. Just say it. It's so rude for you to lie to me. Don't gaslight me and then say you're doing something you're not. Or vice versa.
You know what also is the hilarious part about this?
What is that?
It's the fact that they're also running from the fact that, how should I put this? You tell me that a bunch of professionals that are made for these sorts of things can't handle the opinions of a couple of faceless people on the internet? Is your ego that fragile? I mean, I think this would be like the norm for if you're working in like the industry, that yeah, you're gonna occasionally run into some things that will find unsavory, but you have to harden up on that. You can't let that break your professionalism. And every single time, they just end up breaking their professionalism because they can't handle that pressure. Honestly, I think that if you're in these sorts of situations, you shouldn't. You should, if you can't handle that level of pressure, you shouldn't be in this.
I'd argue that if you arrive at the same position as the Andy Pants versus Ackman debate, if you decide you don't want to cover controversial topics, or you don't want to dig directly into topics by attacking them politics first, and instead work backwards by unpacking the mechanics of the writing and then relating how this affects the creativity of your product, you should be able to talk these people in a circle, no? You don't even have to go for the conversational topic of you don't even know what it is you're fighting against. You can't even define what woke is. Because I don't have to use wokeness to actually define any way to attack it, because this is just pure political proselytization. That's all it is. I believe in calling a spade a spade. It's political proselytization. It is crony capitalism wrapped up in a corporatist bubble where it invokes that if you just put enough faith and belief in a modern audience, you can force them into existence and manifest people that are willing to say, yes, I believe that minority characters should exist. Representation matters. But, at the same time, how are you, a consultancy firm that works on representation and cultural diaspora, getting the wrong fucking nationality of your minority protagonist in one of your popular big sequel title games wrong? How are you a part of a product for another sequel to a big runner-up game that had a long-standing fan base and misinterpreting the character race of a established character? Not a new character, an established character. How are you, while making representation as Joy, getting the characterization of every single character in a mythos wrong? By character development, by archetype, all the way down to making a decision because, okay, if you're going to have the mother of monsters, can't she just be black? What's stopping her from being black? And you're writing what effectively is a period piece. A fictional period piece, but a period piece. Because if faith is shaped by belief by the people who believe in the gods, why would the Greek gods appear the way they do? And why would the, let's go Gaelic, Celtic gods appear how they do? Nordic gods appear how they do. There's a choice here. There's a decision here. There's an explicit decision to follow this down a line. And it's proselytism. It is taking politics, it is injecting them into the games to remove escapism, and then turning the fuck around and saying, you just complain about people doing things. You don't actually have opinions. Why are you so reactionary? When all I said in response to the thing I'm being accused as reactionary over as, why are you shitting on my plate? And you're standing in front of me, halfway pulling your pants down. The pants aren't even off yet. Your cheeks aren't even bare. And you're telling me, how do you know it's shit? You haven't tried it yet. This is the argument of pattern recognition. And realistically, if you wanted to get as simple as that, this is what people say when they say woke. They recognize the patterns of behavior by people who clearly are doing things for monetary purposes and political expediency, and then coming in at the second buzzer, not the first buzzer. It'd be a very big difference if it was the first buzzer. But coming in at the second buzzer, and then literally painting something orange and calling it Drumpfler, and saying this is pure Keynote cinema. And then when people have this discussion about it, they do everything possible to say, but why are you calling out the fact that I'm talking about Trump? You're just being political. It's very pedantic. It's pedantic when the Act Man does it. It's pedantic when you, a company owner, does it, despite the fact that your word is documented in digital form. You have to stop pretending. You have to stop pretending. A second.
Completely off topic, but what the fuck is this collage?
She will explain it when I unpause it, because I paused it to let you speak.
Sorry about that.
It is okay. That is what we're here for, because this video itself is 21 minutes and 2 seconds long. We're going to be looking at all the coverage of everything surrounding the Bel-Air coverage of the XOXO Festival. There's several content creators that are going to be up for this. I'm just finishing the penning of this tweet.
Yeah, I do find it annoying when they get extremely pedantic about things.
The pedantry is on purpose. If they were telling the truth, the propaganda would be unnecessary.
True.
Dogs, stage, and flaky. Hello, I'm Bel-Air. In my circles, I'm largely considered, I think, a relatively nice person. These are my dogs, Sage and Flaky. These are my cats, Tag and the Gray Boy. I really enjoy Lego. I collect skulls and taxidermy, and I also really like playing a lot of video games, including Elden Ring. By day,
You could have did that in a better way than just that. Like I said, whoever is doing her like design for that shit needs to be fired.
Mm.
I am the crazed CEO of Sweet Baby Inc.
How to get your marketing team to listen. Terrorize them. But these were your words chosen from your keynote speech at GDC 2019. Yep. I see that you decided to use someone called ComicsMate instead of using any of your actual detractors. I see art from Kukurio in the corner there. I see multiple headlines.
I think one of those is Endemion's video.
Yes, there's a lot of them cut out here, and the ones that are her biggest criticizers, she does not give attention to. But it's randomly this one from the ComicsMate that she chooses to tie in.
You know they always look for the most unhinged ones, even if they are like very small. They always look for like the most unhinged comments,
Yes.
the most batshit of people.
Yes. It's expected.
The DEI-obsessed censorship mafia who is currently ruining and wokeifying all of the video games that you've ever played.
Go to your marketing team and terrorize them with what could possibly happen if they don't give you your diversity hire asks.
I'm sorry, isn't that just extortion at that point? I'm pretty sure that's extortion.
Especially what they tried to
Mafia
do.
tactics, at least.
Especially what they tried to do to Black Myth Wukong by trying to blackball their business.
Oh yeah, big time.
To the tune of $6 million, $9 million.
I believe so.
Give us money to make your game better, or we'll make sure that you can't, or we'll try our best to prevent you from releasing it. No, go fuck yourself.
Give us money, or you'll never work in this town again.
And then proceed to become the town.
Thank you. Thank you. It's hard work. If you haven't heard of Sweet Babying, thank you. That's actually how I prefer it. But if you
of course you would prefer
Why
that.
do you prefer people not hearing about your company? Shouldn't you be taking pride? Look at all these games that you're tied to. Look at these big games. Only 3 of these are technically big, but look at these big games that you should be recognized for. Don't you want to take accountability for being involved with the writing of Insomniac Spider-Man 2, God of War, Ragnarok, and Alan Wake?
Spider-Man 2, its story was dog shit. That's first and foremost. Let's see. God of War, Ragnarok. They cut Kratos because they're like, do better, even though he has been doing better since Dad of Boy 4.
Dad of Boy, Ragnarok your body.
Yeah. So the do better tagline for Ragnarok never made sense because Kratos has proven time and time again in God of War 4 that he is a much better person. But however, they wanted to deconstruct the character.
There's a much easier way to say it. Dad of Boy is about taking the figure that people grew up with, the Greek era, give me that ass, nigga, level of Kratos, and putting Teal'c in his bodysuit to replace the black actor that is no longer doing the voice. That even Judge said he did not want to conglomerize the acting of, so he's doing an entirely different character. He's at a different point in his life here. But more importantly, it's not just the story of do better, it's the story of do better and teach your sons to do better. Because the biggest problem with the characterization of Kratos is that he's trying, and this is constantly going viral, especially from the psychiatrists that use it as the example of it, of teaching people second-order thinking. A lot of the speeches that they like to quote between Real Tyr and Kratos, with Atreus public and there, amongst other Jotuns, is about the sides of war, and if war is even correct, is there a correct side to wars? And this is all about first, second order, and third form thinking. Applying the concept of, is there a side in a war? And if there is there a good side or a bad side? Do you have to pick a side? This is all alongside the nature of changing a literal god of war and making him a man of peace, because if you want peace, you have to, if you wish for peace, you must prepare for war, blah 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 blah. This was the entire point of the Valhalla bit. But more importantly, making peace with your past and asking yourself the questions that make you prepared to be able to deal with the future. This was not what came across in the narrative. This was not what you guys focused on in the narrative. And all of this is fluff. None of this has to do with the plot of the game. None of it changes the outcome that you're going for, because the only thing that it does is stretch the runtime, because you're conglomerizing more time from your celebrity voice actors. and your high-profile voice actors. Is that good? You could make an argument for it. But your contribution to that game, well, you don't even have your actual contribution to the game on your website anymore. So should you actually be taking credit for them here? Miss, I would prefer you not hear about my company and be surprised. I mean, okay, but assuming that we're back where you took credit for it, you weren't responsible for the writing. Not directly, because if you are, then that means you are involved in the process. Otherwise, why show this? Why claim it? Why brag about it?
It's either because of the over 80 amazing and often award-winning games that we've worked on.
So can you mention some of the ones that are lesser known? Maybe we'll be surprised by the ones that you've had a hand in.
Or actually, one of those, Usual June, was at this very conference. So yeah, you've either heard us from all of these wonderful games, or perhaps you're familiar with the near.
So.
Oh boy, they brought into Gundam.
All right, let's see the roundup. I see Sael.
Gundam.
I see Rev says Desu. I see what looks like
Yellow Flash 2.
upper echelon. I obviously Aspen
Harmful
Gold
opinions.
reacts. I obviously harmful
And
opinions.
Yeah.
Fish TV.
Clownfish. The one over there doesn't recognize. I recognize Var Dark.
So underneath where it says the CEO has issues, that's Yellow Flash 2.
I know.
Let's see, in Dimeon, because Dimeon uses that face for Harley Quinn a lot. Let's see.
Man, the gang's all here.
No,
all here.
they're missing Nerdrotic.
Nerdrotic isn't here.
Yeah, actually.
And the reason
yeah,
I
yeah,
can tell you
yeah,
exactly why Nerdrotic's not here, outside of Vardark, because Vardark is not as large as Nerdrotic. It's also why Heels vs. Babyface isn't here either, because they're recognizable.
And they would cripple them. But it's a Gundam is recognizable.
Yes, but we're talking about frequent detractors that are on your ass frequently. Okay, let's put it like this. You're a serial killer. The only person who's working on your case is Barbara Walters, and I'm forgetting the one name of that very, very old guy from CNN, and Katie Couric. Do you...
Walter Cronkite?
Walter Cronkite. Do you get Barbara Walters, Walter Cronkite, and Katie Couric on your ass? Or when you're trying to avoid how you're safe and innocent from the crimes, you bring up single-player Carl, who's much less known, and you can try to spin delusion from? This is all about trying to take out recognizable faces. Because, of course, even if you say that, well, Carl, has been Gold recognizable? Yes, but we also know that Zachary has really bad opinions from time to time. He's pretty much the front page of Reddit. So him reacting to the video has to do more with how things can get discorporated and unfiltered, and how the filter exists to give people a stemfo feed of negative reactions that they just keep consuming without thought.
Personally, I would feel very embarrassed if my name was ever tied to Saints Row Remake.
Agreed.
Any Saints Row Past 2 is an embarrassment. The reboot is somehow so much worse.
More importantly, in the screen cap, far right of the screen, middle row, you literally have your employee calling for the mass harassment of the person in question that you have now given the platform to become a grifter in his own right. Your company did that. You put it there, right on screen. Most people wouldn't be noticing. You are literally putting the result of your actions out as a positive while trying to shame other people for reporting on the actions you brought to limelight. How dare you, noticers, all of you, serial noticers. That's ridiculous.
really year-long hate campaign that has been waged against us as a team.
A hate campaign is when you are newsworthy and you keep putting yourself in the news.
Unfortunately, today I'm here to talk about that in a talk I'm going to call What Happens When You Get Harassed? A Sweet Baby Story.
Because criticism is always harassment to these people. God damn it, can you stop being so fucking predictable for like 5 seconds, please?
Criticism is not harassment, and it is not incitement. What you did was incite harassment, and then you were criticized, and then people kept noticing the patterns of your behavior. Pattern recognition is not harassment. Noticing pattern recognition is not harassment or incitement. If you don't want to be in the news, stop doing things that are newsworthy.
So I'm going to start at the beginning. Who is Sweet Baby Inc.? We are a narrative development company, and we are a team of narrative developers.
That's not what you said in multiple other interviews. You're a liaison.
No, it's
you're
not.
a liaison company that works on hand with the ESG firm that gives them the blank check, and then you're brought in afterwards to make sure that they are in compliance with their demands and asks. And you want to be brought in the beginning of a product's lifetime so that you can get demands and asks, so you can have more control over the product. You've bragged about this on AC Sisterhood. You've bragged about this on your Inclusion FX interview. You've bragged about this in various different interviews, both on a keynote speech and off of a keynote speech from your home amongst your taxidermy collection. You have done this frequently. You are lying. That might be what you say you are on hand, but that's not what you do in practice.
What that means is that we do script writing, storytelling, narrative work.
So, doing script writing means you're writers. You're a contractual writing company. Because narrative design, script writing, story development, and punch-ups and edits is literally, we are a for-hire writer's room, which is the second to last bullet point down. All of those things are the same shit. So when you say, this is what we do, and then you define, this is not what we do, or this is what we do, but we've decided to use 7 different words to describe it, you're being pedantic, and you're not telling the truth.
For video games, and sometimes that means that we come in for writing punch-ups. Sometimes that means we're the entire writer's room for a project. Sometimes that means we're coming in very, very early on and helping them start the groundwork, the world building.
That's not doing punch-ups. That's you doing everything from the middle to the beginning to the end of the product.
What I want to really stress is that all of our work focuses very heavily and very seriously on story. That is what narrative development is.
That's not what you said, and representation is joy.
We started out in 2018, but it was really in 2020 that we kind of came to any kind of industry prominence, and it was on a backdrop of the COVID quarantine sending everybody home from the office. Me Too sweeping through the games industry as various bad actors were named and shamed appropriately, I should say. And also the Black Lives Matter protests were in full swing.
We got to the height of our power at the height of social investment into politics.
Time, the industry was kind of responding in the way you might imagine, with a lot of corporate overpromising, but within the writing sphere there were a lot of offers for portfolio reviews, like, hey, if you're a marginalized or especially a black dev, we would love to give you a portfolio review. And I want to say I love portfolio reviews. It's something that we also do at Sweet Baby for free. So
you're not just a narrative development company, you're also a portfolio gatekeeper and door stopper. Carl, what's door stopping?
Yep.
Let's work through this one together, because this is a word most people are not familiar with. What does a door stopper do?
Stops doors.
It holds a door open.
The door.
What
does the door open?
What does a gatekeeper do?
Keeps the gate.
From getting through the
It
door.
opens the door. What has Bel-Air bragged about being responsible for doing? Getting more people into the industry, right?
Yes.
Let's hear what she just said again.
the writing sphere, there were a lot of offers for portfolio reviews. Like, hey, if you're a marginalized or especially a black dev, we would love to give you a portfolio review. And
why are you specifically calling out racial delineations and demographics? Sure, try to serve underdeserved and possibly underappreciated content creators, but why are you specifically looking for people of racial stature? Why aren't you just being meritocratic?
That is hilarious that she points out, in particular, black. It's like, yeah, that's not biased at all. Not biased at all.
But we work on story. We believe in representation. The right representation. The black representation.
I want to say I love portfolio reviews. It's something that we also do at Sweet Baby for free. So if anybody in the audience right now is looking for a little bit of a portfolio review or wants to talk about video games, we'd love to do that. But the problem with portfolio reviews is that they also assume that it's a meritocracy, right? They
Yes!
Yes!
That's
It's
common.
supposed to be.
So,
Yeah.
Why?
so
why do you
what? So
think
what are they
it's
supposed to?
not?
So what are they supposed to be instead, Kim?
The problem is your portfolio and not the fact that maybe there's a lot of other reasons that you are not getting the gig. So,
Like not being good enough.
Yeah.
knowing that there are a myriad problems to be solved,
What are the problems? Name them.
created an email called talk@Sweet Baby Inc. And we just said, hey, if you're a developer who wants to get into the industry, if you're someone who's already
What's that? Hey, if you're a person who wants to get into the industry, come to us and we'll open the door for you.
in the industry and you want to talk, just talk to us. And so in that year, we ended up with a lot of people who we connected to, and we talked a lot about advocacy. We talked a lot about helping people get into the industry.
Gatekeeping, door stopping. Da-da. I ain't gotta make shit up.
And we also talked a lot about the importance of telling stories from a variety of perspectives, and
But the correct perspectives.
especially of having those writers and those creators in the room to help you with that.
But
And
only if their skin color is darker than Chocomaca.
Yep. Only if they
Join
share
new
the same thing as I
conversations,
share.
done more projects, more people joined our team, and so in that year or in those subsequent years, we
Black, queer, straight white male, ally. Black, minority, another effeminate white male. Woman, black woman. That's just Grant K. Roberts, because I'm pretty sure Grant K. Roberts is just bald. I don't see David Bedard. Where's your co-founder? Your co-founder's not here. We can obviously tell which one is supposed to be Maya, and we can tell which one is Chris, and we can tell which one is Amy Lee Shaw, and we can tell which one is Grant K. Roberts. Where's David Bedard? Is that the other male next to you? Because David Bedard's head is shaved. More importantly, why don't you have the name of your employees? You can put them in a profile picture, and you can take credit for the work that you put them on and assign them to as a part of the company, but you can't take accountability for the things that they've written on?
because they believe that if they were to put the name of their employees, they believe it would lead to harassment.
But the quote being harassed already by them just having the company name. So why even have a website? Harassment can happen. Just go ahead and delete that.
What they fail to realize is that anybody who's like sincerely sick of their shit already knows all their names by heart.
No, it's worse than that. They want to make every other person look like and sound like they are on the same level of delusion. And this is the problem. I don't care what their names are until you decided to make yourself into what you currently are doing. Why, if you're going to take accountability and you're going to take notoriety for a success, why don't you just own it? If people attacking you comes with the position and the business and the power and the fame, you have to accept that. I don't see Amy Hennig removing her name from products as she's responsible for both founding and also having a hand in creating. Why would you do that? That's like saying
Simple.
that Jeff Kaplan should remove himself from ever creating the idea for Overwatch.
Comparing them to fucking Amy Haig is like comparing Tolkien to that guy that created that fucking to fucking Christian.
I know. That's why I compared.
That's not fair.
That's why I compared. That's why I compared them to fucking Jeff Kaplan.
Also, it's
That's
very
not
simple.
fair.
It's also very simple, Carl. They don't know how to take accountability for themselves. As a result, they pin, project, and blame others when their projects go to shit because all they know how to do is write about the simple daily bullshit that they go through and try to cuck characters that people actually like in order to put their self-insert OCs to the forefront.
That, while could be true, you don't have physical evidence of that on hand outside of the things that they do in the game, and then how they can interpret those when standing on a stage. I hope you know where I'm coming from with that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you have to prove this. And they have the microphone.
Well, I get that they have the microphone. However, didn't she also post screenshots of Twitter
Yes.
of people who work on her account?
Yes. That's why they always do these keynote speech events that don't ever take questions.
Also, I know it's another fucking thing here, but I also hate these slides. Like, there's no consistency between what are you doing here? There's no consistency between your artistic merit of these slides.
Oh no, there is.
It's like they're all different
things.
Oh no,
there is. She's setting the stage. She's telling a story. Also, you're correct, Summoner. A door stopper sounds a lot like a bouncer because that's what a gatekeeper is. It's a bouncer. They position themselves in the business as a bouncer. They did the soft, mealy mouth presentation of talk to us if you want to know what people really want to know. And then they're using that information as a cudgel to wield against any person that they dislike. Every single bit of what they just said was American leftist perspective, American bourgeois, and literally nothing else past that. And yet, every single word that she said, all of it is in context. The only thing she's interested in, which is having access to the business and providing access to others to be in the business. Moving forward.
We grew from a team of only 5 to a team of 16 incredibly talented people. And
who you will never learn the name of.
Time, as you might imagine, a lot of game teams were looking for guidance, both in terms of narrative, but also in terms of learning how to tell diverse stories and feature diverse characters. And so naturally, because we were kind of in that conversation, we helped
because we put ourselves in that conversation by positioning ourselves as experts.
Throughout the years, again, we worked on, as I said, a ton of games.
This is the same 6 games. What? 7.
Why?
7 games. Where are the other games? Name them. If you're not going to put the name of your employees out, you need to put the name of the games that you work on out. Go.Energy. If you can't get to the level of having a portfolio demonstration like that of the Go.Engine, which is now getting forked because of that whole story, then you're not fit for purchase. How can I be able to trust you if you can't show me the shit you take credibility and accountability for? I'm sorry, you're committing at least 4 different violations of the WGA charter, the SAG-AFTRA charter, and the BAFTA charter. You don't get credibility and notoriety for an award for something that you get nominated for that you can't put on your CV. Doesn't matter if you're putting it down under your name for your writing credits or your company's name. If you can't tell me and show me in this place, then it's not valid.
For most of these, we did writing, story development. Sometimes we just kind of came on and did spot checks.
And you're right, Detective. Where is Kill the Justice League on that roster?
The thing that genuinely made me really, really proud of all of us was that we were living up to the title that I had wanted to. We were becoming true narrative developers.
True narrative developers is when you tell white male gamers that they are picky babies that don't get to have the right to choose the games they get to play, and instead of having the escapism they want to have, you will insert yourself covertly into every business until you can insert yourself blatantly into every business and tell people that the stories that you want aren't the stories you want. You want the stories that we want to tell you.
No, the
capable of
stories that
taking on
she
pretty
does in particular.
much any task.
Well,
as far
it's
as
metastasized more than just her. Because it's not just Kim Bel-Air, and it's not just the company. It's Kim Bel-Air, her teachings, and the company philosophies that she's insisted on for other people. Because remember, Sweet Baby Inc. is not just one person, it's not just 5 people. It's a team of 17 plus 1, or 16 plus 2, if you count the 2 co-owners correctly. It is a school of thought. The Sweet Baby Inc. School of the Narrative Development Thought. Just like the Frankfurt School of Thought. We're talking about an entire sphere of influence now. This is not just people in a bedroom. This is not people in a boardroom. This is an active movement of decision making explicitly done towards a goal, a stated mission statement.
a touch story on any project at any time, and that expertise was a result of all the different kinds of work that we were doing.
Work like what?
For those not in the industry or not familiar with it, most game writers in their entire careers will see 5 to 10 projects as just, a lifetime. And we would see that many projects in a matter of months. And what happens when you work on that many projects and you get to see the inside of so many processes is that you don't learn necessarily like, oh, here are the ins and outs of working in this specific company. You instead hyper-focus on narrative and all of its parts, and you get really good at it. You get really, really specific at it, and you become craftspeople. And
it appears to be that all the things that you craft are the same level of garbage. So how do you explain that?
Jeez, almost like
enough, as far as
creates this one-size-fit-all bullshit.
As far as this company is concerned, that was actually my end game. I wanted us to become craftspeople.
You wanted us to make shit on purpose. She didn't even move the slide yet, and I can see The Wedding Singer, Sister Act 2. I'm assuming another movie that's probably a comedy.
That looks like that's funny.
I learned a lot about Carrie Fisher. And beyond her acting career, she was actually a very respected script doctor in Hollywood. And I remember finding that so fascinating and really, really striking because, quite famously, she was someone who struggled a lot with the eye of fame, but it was so comforting and interesting to hear that in this community of artists and writers, she was deeply respected just for her craft.
Yeah, and so was Will Friedle, and he was terrified out of acting entirely to the fact he never took on another on-screen role again. What is your point?
And if I'm being honest, just as a creative myself, that's all I've really ever wanted. I've never wanted to be known by audiences.
Then why did you choose to become the head of a narrative script doctor company and then try to do everything possible to be in the limelight?
One of these things is not like the other.
I have never wanted to be known by gamers, certainly, and I've wanted
You don't want to be known by the customers you're selling products to? Hello, my name is Hans Manhomengruber. I am the owner of Burger King, and I despise burgers. I hate everything about the process of burgers. I hate cows. I hate nature. I hate slaughtering cows. But I am the head of Burger King, and let me tell you about our 15 different limited time offers. I personally had a hand in crafting each and every one of these.
This is so fucking stupid.
It is pedantic. That's the word I would use. It's pedantic. It is pedantic. Hello, Kinsomatic.
Yo.
Feel free to join in any time whenever you feel like it, or.
I have wanted to be known by game devs and writers especially.
So you don't want to be known by the customer, but you want to be known by the industry.
So what if that gamer is a game dev? Are you just going to avoid them outright?
Only if their name isn't Toby Fox.
Actually, I want teams and studios and writers and creatives to think of us when they need a hand, when they want that more support.
You want them to specifically think of you when they need a hand.
So the reason
all the better to extort them with.
No, so the reason why she doesn't want to be known by the people she's feeding she's feeding their consumer tactics to, or gamers, is because if she is known by them, then that means that they're going to do research on her, and she can't subtly propagandize their video games anymore.
Well,
Because
yes.
they'll know what to expect. They'll know what to expect from her.
Well, yes.
And on top of that, should shit go south and she gets caught extorting developers and etc., she would then be called out for it by everyone.
That's already
To the
happened.
point where- I know that's happened. I'm saying this is why she didn't want to be known by gamers.
I know.
Because this happened faster.
I know. I've explained that already. You're recontextualizing something I've already explained. But yes. But that's already happened, though. So,
I know it's already.
she's on stage admitting, I don't want to be known by the people I make things for. I'd rather have a direct speed dial to your favorite developers. Here's a question. Why?
Want to be a game dev's game dev, and that's where I hoped it would be. But
A game dev's game dev. But you don't make games. You're a script doctor company. You're a game dev's script doctor. If that's what you want to go with. If that's the argument you're making.
Not
That
even
is
the
not
right
what
script.
happened.
You're just
Because
making words,
in
not
October of
numbers.
2023, we had about 70 games under our belt at the time.
Are
that-
you gonna know any of those games other than the fucking 7 you've put on screen? No? Okay.
So you gotta put the others. You gotta put the same 7 on the screen right now.
Two of them, two very, very big ones, were about to drop within a week of each other. So on October 23rd, there was
Of
Spider-Man
course.
2, and then on October 27th, there was Alan Wake 2, both big AAA games, and we had worked on narrative and character for both of them with literally years of work on Spider-Man 2.
Years of work, and you're still putting the
work.
wrong fucking nationality on one of your antagonists.
Years of work, and you decide to make Miles into a fucking billboard for shoes.
You know what I really hope for when I play a Spider-Man game? That I get to play as a deaf person doing graffiti.
Finally got
AKA,
to
no.
announce them.
Mm.
We were very excited. In retrospect, we were actually like comically excited because we had a couple thousand followers at the time, mostly game devs, and we were like, okay, it's time to stand up and be proud of our work. Wow, this is gonna be really nice. And I remember even thinking that morning as we made these posts, like, I wonder if anyone's gonna notice that, like, we posted about Spider-Man, we're also posting about Alan Wake. Like, will anyone put it together? Because I think our way of working at Sweet Baby, the kind of like teamwork that we do on so many different games, is really, really unique. I think it's really cool. I think people will be excited about it and about our craft.
So are you going to show us videos of yourself doing liaison talks with the developers and actually showing people what you do behind the scenes so that it can be seen and known?
I don't think she will because it would be incriminating.
So I decided to do a cheeky Google and see, like, hey, had anyone put that together? The Google went bad. I shouldn't have done it because rather than any praise or people going, wow, how did you do it? Or just, hey, a narrative development company, what does that mean? I'm really interested. We were instead found by kind of 4chan and the worst people on Twitter.
Okay, so obviously Kiwi Farms, obviously 4chan. And this is just what I assume is the same roll down of their companies that they work for. Because, we're working with these people and here's the thing that they do and say and blah, 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 blah. So we're assuming that you're pulling from the worst of the worst. So first off, Reddit is a website that's owned by people like you. NeoGAF, in its entirety, is full of the people that were no longer willing to go alongside Reset Era. Because Reset Era is not here, obviously. 9gag is not 4chan. And even though you put Kiwi Farms here, none of these are from Kiwi Farms.
Nope.
So you're just putting them here for association purposes alone. Including the fact that 4chan, while even referenced as a supposed hater gamer Nazi group, has actively been changed from the inside and outside to no longer even have the kind of conversations and language that you would be disreputable for. So, cap. We should start off there. Cap.
Also, wow, that is bad. Like that yellow wording on white background. Like, I feel like you need to shrink that photo and bottom left and then try to shrink that yellow word out because I can't really see what that website is. Is it
Reddit?
Reddit?
It's Reddit.
Oh. Oh, okay.
All right, starting from the top left. And if you ever thought every modern AAA game feels written by the same people, it's because they basically are. You just admitted that you were working on multiple projects at the same time. So you
70, by the way. 70, by the way.
Sumney?
No, I said 70 projects, by the way.
70 at the time that was being released here. She named a lot more.
Yes.
You admitted that you were working on multiple projects during the lockdowns for years on end. So if you specifically want your company to become stationed as a craftsperson, here's an interesting conversation. You say you wanted your company to become full of people who are trade worthy of the craft. You do understand that a craft master creates a homogenized product that is the same. So you take a person noticing this example of your own words as example that it's true because they're right. You admit it as such. Chronic noticing. Every AAA American game studio has been outsourcing their games writing to the shitty ESG obsessed company. That's half true. There are multitudes of you, because Sweet Baby Inc. is not the only one. There's Weird Ghosts, there's Gamer X, there's Dragon Baby, there's Black Girl Gamers, and all of them have had the exact same level of talks. We've already gone through them on other VSChats. People in the backlog who are interested can look into them. But no, it's not just Sweet Baby Inc. But of course, they pull out this example so they can call you delusional. Sweet Baby Inc. are basically a branch of BlackRock that consults on ESG and gaming. If you basically want ESG funding, you need to pass the ESG scores by this company. 9gag, December 2023. 9gag is a fucking repost website of memes stolen from other places. But okay, there's forums on 9gag. Why would I care about that opinion from that group of people? Also, they are correct. You are literally brought in to liaison on the company by those that are brought in for the ESG firms. If you're being called for by the developer alone, you could say that's a get out, but most of the developers think the exact same way you do too, which is the other part of the equation. As has been shown from any person who has sat down and watched a game show review, or has watched an award show coverage, or has watched upcoming game events coverage, every single developer is just as cucked on the question of DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, and ESG as possible, as well as political pandering, for the purposes of political expediency and financial liquidity. You have all admitted to doing it. It is even front and center, in fact. You are more focused on telling me about your political aspirations and your ties to how you're, quote, doing better for the industry before you ever show me fucking gameplay of games. Don't you think that's backwards? But, reading the last one. Most sinister actors in any industry often hide behind a harmless or infantile mask to conceal their true intentions. This organization has completely infiltrated the industry, but you did. And this is just from YouTube. You didn't pull it from a particular video, you just pulled it from YouTube.
And looking back, there is a funny element to it where I go like, people were kind of talking like, I've discovered a secret Canadian company. Like, these are the guys
Also,
who
Peon, that's not appropriate.
did it. And the discovery that they had made was actually like our public-facing website that...
Yes, they came across your website that you bragged about your behavior on. And to show to the people who probably have not looked at Sweet Baby since, you have changed the entire layout of your website. It no longer has any of the other pages. It is literally just scroll down from the top to the bottom, putting it on the screen so you see it's real. This is going to be on the stream side. You have changed the entire layout of the website from the top to the bottom. The entire thing has changed. You're putting out literally the same 7 games as your featured products, with maybe 1 extra 2 exceptions, which would be the Crew Motorfest and Afterlove. and Kill the Justice League is on here, but you didn't have it in your panel. And even though you show clips of Spider-Man 2 and Usual Jude, you don't have it down here. So yes, you don't get to use that as a talking point. I'm sorry. You've chosen to literally change your outcomes and change your tactics based on your coverage. Now you can say, but that's in reaction to how people are covering us. They're treating us poorly. Or is it in reaction to knowing that you're being exposed for the shit that you've done, the things that you scrubbed? Again, you're proud about these things. You're proud about the game work you're doing. You're doing real work. These people are just hateful, Nazi, harassing bigots. So what are you hiding from? Crazy.
We advertise our services on, and which you can go to right now if you'd like.
Not anymore! The only thing that's left there is if you want to work with them, you have to give a contact form.
Collaborate with us or just learn more. It's not hidden. And if it is, it's very bad because it's at sweetbabyinc.com. But literally within a few hours of me seeing that first post, we were not only being accused of, forcing a black person into Alan Wake, which
But you did.
But you did.
You did.
You did exactly that. It's like Saga Anderson didn't exist in that regard. The way that you presented her in Alan Wake 2. She was originally a white woman in Quantum Break. What are you doing?
Did she come down with a sudden case of Nigaligo? Is what happened?
Apparently.
She must have voted for Joe Biden.
Doc.
And if it isn't you guys, then who else is it? I'm pretty sure you guys don't really want to say that because I'm sure that they're still over there and you want to keep friends with them.
It's so weird. It's like that one. It's like the G Prime joke, but instead it's in reverse, where it's like, "Congratulations, Samantha, you voted correctly. Now it's time to give you your reward." And he puts his hand in your face and he takes the melanin that it stole from the other woman and gives it to her. It's like when Mary Jane stepped inside the machine and became a black woman.
Lois Lane.
Lois Lane, you get my point.
Mary Jane.
You get my point.
I know. I know.
Do.
I know.
And also of putting pride flags into Spider-Man's New York, which...
You not only put in pride flags, you then were a part of the people who tried to spin the developer mode, the literal tool of the development bug tool, to turn the flags off when the game is being played in a Middle Eastern region. Which was right in the middle of the entire contestment about mods on websites like Game Banana and Nexus mods being removed because they are, quote, not appropriate for the game material or the website. Which then sets the precedent of, you will frame things that are natural existent tools of the game as mods, and then you will remove those mods for being against the political diatribe. And then you will add mods for being for the political and brain rot diatribe. And you at no time believe this is hypocritical.
Nope, not even once.
Which at the same time, that same mod actually was just changing the localization files from the American branch to, I think it was Saudi Arabia
Correct.
branch.
That's what,
into which,
yes.
Yeah. Which I would say, if you have a problem with that, you may as well come up to Insomniac and tell them why you have that. And if you don't, and they'll tell you, hey, go fuck yourself. We're with the Saudi princes, not you. No, your pecking order, ma'am.
Because if you want to throw it at the feet of somebody, then that would be thrown at the feet of Insomniac. You, as Sweet Baby, would not be responsible. So why would you cope to that? Because by you coping to that, you're saying you had a hand in the flags. Now, of course, you could be saying, well, no, I'm not. I'm making fun of those people who think that. But that's not how they see it. And also, we actually know the truth of how it happened. So, by you saying something, you create the circumstances that you don't want. That's dumb. You're dumb. At the very least, that's a dumb way to try and exonerate yourself. Because then, none of the onus is on you. You are just liaison company. We just work here, bro. We're not responsible for the political diatribe. You are, though. We've seen how you tweet. But we're not responsible for the political diatribe. That's on the home company. You should blame Insomniac. And then the people that buy the Insomniac games will then look at the Insomniac company and they'll say to themselves, wait a second, you're full of shit too. And then they'll become chronic noticers.
Again, so good, love to see them, but we were not responsible for them. But suddenly we were being told that we were, funded by BlackRock, and that actually we weren't a narrative development company. We were a DEI company, some kind of vaguely defined censor, and that we
diversity, equity, and inclusion. Representation. DEI is loosely defined, and you can't be able to define it in the book. There's no way that you get these things across. When you try to rebrand the bridge, they're going to still be on your ass. I'm sorry.
We were here to use all of the power we had amassed to force companies to...
Is that literally not what you suggested? Did you not say you wanted to have the hands on getting people over on and under on your products and know your name, but not know the name of you specifically? Come on, be for real.
Go woke. And obviously that's a very baffling understanding of what work for hire is. I'm not sure how they imagine we did it or how the contracts would be drawn up for it.
So show the contracts. Wouldn't the fastest way to demystify the subject matter just to show things above the record? The deals are already made, yes. Get the approval of the companies you worked with. Can I put this on a keynote speech? Yes. Show it. Stop all that yapping and put the fucking titties on the table.
Can't be doing that. Then she could be held accountable for something.
But it kind of didn't matter because
it does matter. It would matter a lot if you tell the truth and you say, yes, I believe in the destruction of your industry. That is what we want. That's what multiple people from your company have actively come out and said with their own lips. Got the other guy from the other fucking debate that was on a Black Girl Game is doing it out of their own way. Never before have I ever been insulted with a person trying desperately to castigate Mel Brooks and Quentin Tarantino at the same damn time.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Just kept evolving and spinning out of control, and suddenly the conspiracy was just alive.
It's a conspiracy. The things that you're saying.
It's a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. Oh, now it is. Okay, sure.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Sometimes our families or our contractors, they were doxing me and other members of the team.
People talking about your work background that is public knowledge on the internet that you chose to put out there is not doxing. Doxing is when people try to cause life ruination with the hope that somebody takes that information to do further life ruination. Fuck out of here with that.
You mean like what Chris Tinder tried to do to a certain person that tried to make a list of their games?
You can say Brutus Rambo.
Well, yeah, I know, but sorry, couldn't think of it.
It's okay. It's okay. It is good for the goose, but it's not good for the gander when it comes to us. Okay. Very hypocritical, Kim.
Team, anyone calling these attacks out as doxing was accused of doxing themselves or lashing out.
When you attack people that you've attacked, people are going to call it you lashing out because you're literally throwing your hands out at anyone that's pointing at the situation.
That's me. I'm the CEO. I have issues. But yeah, this went on for weeks and then months.
It's still going on now. Why are you on stage talking about it if it's not an ongoing harassment campaign? That's how you framed it.
Peak, which was somewhere around
also,
February, March.
When you're talking about doxing, there are some clear differences. First off, you are a public figure. Your business is a public figure. You have a Twitter account. Make sure when you make that Twitter account, you don't say she, her, you don't say your location or anything like that, because that's not doxing. That's just you giving out your information. It's the same. It's rule number 1 of the internet. You never showcase your public information. If you know that you're going to be a public figure, if you know that you're going to be a part of this internet sphere and you're gonna like consolidate all these big businesses and everything like that, you have to cover your ass with that. You can't be bitching and be mad that, oh my gosh, they're doxing, when you literally have your name on there, when you literally have your location on there, when you have she, her, they, them, you say that you're a type of person with this policy, this politician or anything like that. It's digital footprints. Don't make digital footprints.
You said digital footprints because I'm gonna ding that really quick. I don't care about her pronouns, but I'm at the Santa Monica Jukes Bar on 23rd and Sunset, and then people go to where you said you currently were. I'm being cyberstalked. Cyberstalking isn't okay, but who provided the information? That's more concerning. And you just said we didn't hide it. It was public. But then people started stalking our media feed.
And it's not even asking for the fact that the places that you're in, like say your Twitters or your Facebook or even just your MySpace, they have back doors. They track pictures. Like you don't think a picture that you took a picture at Mount Rushmore or some place that's right next to Mount Rushmore, you don't think they have coordinates in there? You don't think they have tracking or location on those pictures? Like, you have to be careful. This should be like number one. I'm sad that you didn't take internet security when you was a kid.
This is just ego, is what that is.
This year, we were getting something like 300 emails a day, which admittedly some of those are going to be spam or bots or whatever it is, but they were often accompanied by death threats, threats to our
Show examples.
We did have one bomb threat made.
Show examples.
They always seem to claim these things, but never show examples. I wonder why.
So fucking stupid. It's so fucking stupid. You cannot claim harassment and then not show examples of harassment. For any of the times that I've been fucked with, I have always shown examples of what people are saying. Because on one hand, well, I don't want to show them, then that's giving them credit. You already showed the fucking names and the examples of their fucking channels, either from the videos in question or from the thumbnails of the people that you consider to be the ones responsible for attacking you most. You just blatantly said, here you are, guys! If one of my thumbnails would have been there, you think I wouldn't have been sitting here saying, there I am, there I am, there I am! But at that point, it's a question of what's gotten under your skin versus what's actually true. But let's be fucking for real right now. You're saying you were harassed. Okay. Boop, 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 boop. Screen. This one. You were harassed. Point out one of the channels that sent you a death threat. Point out a channel that sent you a bomb threat. I bet we're not going to find one amongst any of the people who made this. If you were legitimately harassed and they threatened your life and your family, I'm right there with you. Give me the name. Oh, you can't give me a name? Shut the fuck up.
Those are going to be spam or bots or whatever it is, but they were often accompanied by death threats, threats to our family. We did have one bomb threat made to the police that they contacted us about, and at best, the nicest thing you would see in some of these spaces was that we were a punchline. But any defenders were really, really shouted down quite quickly. And in moments when this movement couldn't dig up like another reason to attack us, they would just kind of move on to other groups who they perceived to be like us.
You mean people who work in the exact same field of business? Because you guys are on a list. You're on all the lists, which is one of the other things you chose to do. You put yourself on a bunch of lists about how to organize for diversity, how to organize for group campaigns to stop toxicity and negativity in gaming, with all the regular names and all the regular sponsors there. I provided an example of this list in my Yaponomics duology. You all work in the same business. Dragon Baby, Gotgo Gamers, Gamer X, that's G-A-Y, Mer X, and Weird Ghosts, and other consultancy firms. Silver String Media, one of the biggest liaisons, which is where Maya came from, Maya Kramer, before, after they transitioned. You are all a part of the same business. So when people called out you, they then thought to themselves, wait, Sweet Baby Inc. isn't the only ESG firm. There are other firms as well. So the crime of noticing, and the crime of noticing more than you. You're mad that they're not single-focused on you so that you can get more popularity from this. Okay.
All while doing the work of erasing all of those people's and our actual jobs and interest and papering over it with kind of that rallying cry of far-right supremacy, DEI.
Calling out the inability to create things without using the exact same mold and brush to homogenize all of the storytelling that you put political propagandizing and plausibilization of politics into is a far-right supremacy talking point. There are two ways you can go from here. You can go to, okay, and what? What next? Or maybe you're just fucking lying.
And as ridiculous and stupid as it all was, I actually was not prepared for the escalation of it when noted buffoon and Twitter CEO Elon Musk
Rocket Man Dad
decided that he would chime in with his very cool thoughts.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk is worth 1,000 of you, woman.
And they pulled that from an It's a Gundam clip because It's a Gundam uses that a lot.
Sweet Baby Inc.
Yeah, it is actually.
Yes, it is. Sweet Baby Inc. is an evil blight on the gaming industry. All they do is make games terrible and try to cancel people. They cannot go broke soon enough. Why would you care? Elon Musk doesn't know the real groundwork you're doing here on Terra Firma, no? I think you're more upset.
Say what you will about the man, but sometimes he is correct.
See,
Where's the lie?
it seems that you're more upset that you're being noticed than you are about the take that he's giving.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted to say, don't they just want accolades for what they do? Instead, they got the opposite.
Well, realistically, yes. However, by choosing to not take accountability for the work that they published and trying to remove the credits of both individuals and whole company efforts from all of their business, they should be disqualified from ever being nominated for an award.
No, absolutely.
Agreed.
Like, by all means, say that you can nominate them for something, but you cannot take credit. If you phone in 20% of the effort of a group project between 10 people as one lazy person, should you receive full credit and full marks for being on the group project?
No.
Or should you only receive the passing grade and not receive an actual higher mark than you would have deserved for the work that you put in?
Actually, I think you deserve less, but hey, that's just me.
Very cool, very good thoughts in there. Lots to think about. So this was hard the whole time. Like, not since the beginning, it wasn't great.
So since the beginning, when you first started out the business, it wasn't great? You were being harassed when people didn't know who you were? That's not true. Because how would they know who you are to harass you? Tell the truth.
We were receiving countless emails, all this constant hate. It was targeted enough to feel disconcerting even when it was kind of silly, and it was also kind of drowning out the support. But when Elon chimed in, it really made me realize the scale of it, because the richest man in the
Yeah, what? Name it. The scale of what?
world was suddenly turning like the Eye of Sauron onto 16 people trying to make
The internet noticing your behavior and calling out the fact that you're doing the behavior and continuously noticing all the other things you do to evade accountability, criticism, and the sunlight disinfectant are the Eye of Sauron. They are the Eye of Sauron, they are the mouth of Sauron, they are the balls of Sauron, they are the dick tip of Sauron, they are the frenulum of Sauron, they are the spent nutshot of Sauron dribbling on the floor after the blowjob and the hand job of Sauron filleting themselves and how they hate your business. Okay.
Okay, but in the Eye of Sauron wouldn't have noticed you if Chris Kindred didn't put his hand on the Plantier in the first place. I'm just saying.
No, don't remove Maya. Give Maya her credit too. She helped.
Mm-hmm. Both of them just placing their stupid hands on that Plantier, and the ISL was just like, "Gotcha, bitch."
The pretty modest living in the industry that they love, and he was arguing for our collapse. And
if you think you shouldn't collapse, change your business.
This meant that, it was when this happened and when it got bigger than this, you can tell I got it early as a screenshot, but yeah,
you got from a video,
it made us realize that this was huge. We were being attacked in a massive and coordinated campaign of harassment.
It's not coordinated. It's literally random people looking at your stuff and saying, wow, isn't this pretty shitty? Like, it's not like It's a Gundam and Rev Says Desu are in or with a table and chair smoking a big cigar looking at this woman be like, let's take her down a notch, shall we? No, it's literally them looking at what you're doing. It's like, man, this is stupid.
Wait,
of this.
Don't you know that we're all in a shadow cabal together?
Yeah.
Did you not get the ring?
Yeah, don't you know?
Did we not pass out the rings?
Yeah, don't you know that we're all together just like they were during Gamergate? With the hidden campaigns and the coordinated attacks to coordinate their articles to attack the consumer? It's the same shit.
Oh. I didn't realize. I didn't know I didn't get the ring. I didn't get the cloak. I didn't get my free cigar. Like, where's my mask?
Where's my smoking pipe?
What, you didn't get your...
I've been paying my dues.
What, you didn't get your complimentary BBW?
No.
It's simple, gentlemen. We killed the Batman.
Where is my complimentary white woman cigar, pack of cigarettes, comic books, and bottle of alcohol? I only got the bottle of alcohol, but I had to pay out of this out of pocket. Okay, where is my benefits from being a cabal member? I've been one since 2016. I ain't getting shit.
They are in therapy, along with the women that you should be talking to. That's the only singer from the other. Anyways, content creators creating content based on your coverage is not a harassment campaign. Again, criticism is not harassment or incitement. Just because Rev Says Desu makes a video doesn't mean that if it also then gets covered by Asmongold, that he is now a part of a hate campaign. If that is how things work, then every single time the left wing from the future moving onwards chooses to behave, the exact same tactic needs to be used against you. Until you learn that either the thing you're saying is stupid, and you stop making that the standard, or you be destroyed by the tools that you decided to use to attack other people, and you realize that the tool can be used to hurt you too.
Absolutely. I think a lot of them don't want to realize, want to make that, they want to ignore that for as long as possible. I've noticed this in, a lot of different areas. I want to say, maybe in, certain circles where, they cause this problem and it's going to be used against them, like the cancel culture stuff. And people digging up posts that they made years ago or whatever.
Let's say in Sweet Baby's case, especially amongst Chris Kindred and the rest of their employee members, you ain't gotta go back years. You can go months, sometimes weeks, maybe even days or hours, because they just do it chronically. However, it is in this context that I am stricken upon words that were said by Random Accam. Whereas you're fighting against people that are determined to depend that they're being attacked by actual shadows doing nothing. And that is them attacking consumers. And the consumers, of course, lashing out as they would by not paying with their wallet. The easy way of avoiding that is just simply admit that you're not fighting shadows, but you're fighting real people. This is the deplorable angle. Admit that you're not attacking people who are irrational, gibbering insane trolls. They're people, and they have names, and they remember what you said. They remember what you did. They researched what you said and what you did. They brought it up to current speech. They informed people about your opinions. And in you being upset about that, yeah, you can say, I'm bad, that they dug up my past. But don't lie and say they dug up my past as a targeted hate campaign to discredit us, because that's a lie. And you know it's a lie. You don't stop harassment by continuing the lie.
Sometimes I wonder if Anita offered classes in this or something.
I did say when I first started covering Bel-Air that she's basically her black stepsister.
Yeah, she I would say she has different little offshoots of her and proteges. I don't know if that's the correct term.
They are. They are all proteges because
there's definite connective tissue. Just on a quick Google, she appeared on Feminist Frequency podcast several times too. So they at least know each other.
Wait, was she on that little illustrated?
No.
No, that's
wasn't
not
her.
No, that was a fat black woman. This is a thin French American woman. Technically French Canadian.
She could have lost weight. I mean,
nah, we have a picture of what woman that was. More importantly, not accounting.
I apologize.
It's fine.
They all look the same to me.
Come on, give Caroline Petite some credit. Anyways,
what a name.
Anyways, not accounting for the transgender vocalist now turned game journalist in the cottage industry of game journalism. Bel-Air has the exact same through line as Anita Sarkeesian, which is where the grifting really started. That's where it really took off the most. So she's just following that same design of positioning herself as somebody who's not responsible for things. I'm just having normal opinions. She's already achieved maximal garbage human. It's incredible. It's just that she chose her garbage human to be, Rocket Band bad versus, any of the people in the conflicts of covering her. But be that as it may, where was I with what I was saying? Harassment campaign is not constitutionalized by people saying something's happening and then you being mad that they're saying it because it's true. If you do not like the weapons being used against you, stop using the weapons or accept the fact that now you're losing when people start playing as dirty as you are. And then when you scream and saying, you can't do that, you're playing dirty, people should say, yeah, and you've never been playing clean. And continue doing what they're doing since you've made it clear that you want to win a war. And if you're going to go to a state of total war with the gaming consumers, you're always going to lose.
Yep.
They would just say, I will take my money elsewhere.
Well, it depends on how many people actually demonstrate that they are willing to not pay for something. As we've seen, there are people that are interested in playing Kill the Justice League because they enjoy Kill the Justice League. Even if the game itself will die and go on life support, they will continue to try to keep that game going. Just because that's how they view things and that's how they think they should handle the problem. It is...
Either that or they'll just respond to you via silence.
Yeah.
Whenever you make a new game, whenever you make new media, whenever you make anything, you'll be like, hey, come see my stuff, this is new. And they'll just respond to you with silence and apathy. And as we all know, apathy is death.
The opposite of love
Star Wars
is
is
not hate,
learning
it is
this.
indifference.
Man, Deathborn really learned that really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Another good example, yeah.
That sucks, but it does get me closer to the question of what happens when you get harassed.
I can give you a 3-step plan. What happens when you get harassed is that you get isolated, and then you get targeted, and then they follow through. That's what happens. So,
I don't know, maybe you should ask some of those marketing departments about that.
yeah.
So first of all, just as a spoiler, what happens when you get harassed is it sucks. I can't recommend it. If I had to rate the experience, 1.5 stars probably. It's not the best.
Whoa.
Ew.
More specific.
This is what you definitely need to do to demonstrate that you can beat the allegations of being responsible for being the head of a company that specializes in being political proxy and pragmatism in writing. Constant jokes.
Specifically what happened during all of this, if I can
Which, by the way, is minimizing, what you're being accused of.
Down into this review is, we lost our voice. And we didn't just lose our voice as a collective.
You are literally standing on stage at a double XO festival talking about how you're harassed. You didn't lose your voice. You were reminded what you were doing and what you were doing it for, and you didn't like the fact that you're on the wrong side of the gamers' interest. And that the gamers didn't want it. You didn't lose your voice.
We lost our voices individually because...
What she means to say is she lost her ability to hide her voice or the influence into these games.
Much more close.
In all seriousness, what we're essentially witnessing is a snake in the grass complaining that someone noticed that they were slithering in the grass because they hit somebody. That's all this is.
Wouldn't be completely surprised if next year they'll get featured in either the Game Awards or anything like that.
We'll see.
Social media, or they get attacked so consistently.
We have a lot of
stream on the YouTube side of things.
We have a lot of things to cover. Stream on the YouTube side of things, what?
Oh, no, the stream on the YouTube side of things is good, but we can't see it on the Discord.
Okay.
Yeah, it went off on the Discord. Sorry.
There we go.
That it just becomes frustrating to use. It's not enjoyable to hop on anywhere and get that wave of hate. So within Sweet Baby...
Agreed. So what did you do to try to alleviate it?
Beyond what we do for work, there are authors, there are comic book creators, there are TTRPG creators, game designers, people who have other work that they want to share with the world, that they should be allowed to share with the world. But just for existing within our company, just for working on the games that they do, they were attacked. Even contractors, people who literally worked with us for a spot check, a week or a couple months. But there was really, really nothing we could do. And
yes, there is. You could ignore it.
Yeah.
As silly
Nice to
as
be
it is,
professional.
and
Ignored
as
it.
little as I miss the current Twitter, as little as I regret leaving it.
Let's hear that again.
Oh boy.
There was really, really nothing we could do. And as silly as it is, and as little as I miss the current Twitter, as little as I regret leaving it, the loss of frivolity and frankly dumb bullshit is actually a little soupçon of dehumanization. Because I would love to post a picture of my latte or my dogs without people going oh, I guess coffee is woke now, and hey, that dog.
You don't
gay.
have to.
But
what did we just say? What did we just say about OPSEC? Post picture of my dog.
Okay. Now, if this was 4chan, they could literally look at that window, look at the bottom of that concrete bottom frame and the reflection of that mirror, and they might look at you for about 3 minutes. This is terrible. This is the reason why. Okay, maybe don't send a picture on Twitter. Send a picture of your dog to your mother or something.
Post it on Telegram. Post it on Mastodon. Post it on some of the sites where they don't actively go. Although, if you keep talking about the news in that way, just like how the lead coverage for what was that Mastodon user for the Godot situation, how one of the Godot administrators, moderators, founders, basically showed that they were not willing to tell the truth about their opinion publicly when they were bragging about it and being silent, and they basically demonstrated that, no, it was Mastodon. They're willing to tell the truth when they believe they're amongst hushed figures and favorites on Mastodon. That is the level of OPSEC you guys are on right now, and oh my god. 4chan, if they were on that devil timing that they were during He Will Not Replace Us, He Will Not Divide Us with Shia LaBeouf, you're cooked. I'm sorry. And more importantly, you post a picture of your dog and you think that the sons are gonna go, dogs are woke, guys. Black cute dogs are woke. You're not serious. That's not a real statement. That's not a real argument you just made.
We weren't allowed.
Yeah, I'm surprised nobody was.
Also, of course she puts up that stupid ass progress.
Like, if this is what she thinks,
flag.
like people at Sweet Baby think are threats of violence and harassment.
Dog gay, huh?
Yeah,
This dog is gay.
that's pretty ridiculous.
Be in the conversation without what amounts to mass targeting. But look at him up there. And don't get me wrong. People did defend us. Some very, very great folks, like often writers, game devs, people who
Name them.
worked with, people we had not worked with who could see this thing for what it was. But
What it was?
While I-
What was it? Was it just a hateful, bigot campaign full of people who are hateful and obnoxious?
Or a reaction to one of your employees acting like an asshole.
It so much. That support is still really hard to feel in the panic of the moment. And so instead, I felt really guilty. I felt
Why?
She should.
Then you should. But why? Can you put a name on it? If you can't, then that's a problem.
responsible. Like I felt bad not for doing the job that I love, but for building a space that was meant to be protective and creative for a bunch of people. And
So here's the thing about working in an industry. You don't get to control the spaces and circles you go into. Not really. You can choose that as a person, but the moment that you say, we will never do business with this company again, you're closing doors for other people. You don't get to say, I will never do this, I will never do that, and then turn around and say, I felt guilty about my decision. They said, take your clothes off and we give you $100 million, billion, $1 And I said, no, my body is a temple. And they looked at me and said, bitch, we have been using you like a condom in a storm drain at an amusement fair park ground. Do the deal. No, my body is a temple. Then 10 minutes later, after they walk out with the gajillion dollars, why do I feel guilty for not busting it down? Stop that. You're an adult. Stop that.
Just
They're not adults, though.
it's literally CEO 101. When you're making a business, when you're dealing with someone, you may not have the same, not even just political views, just policies. You may not have the same values as them. But if they have something that you have, something that you can gain, you tend to work with them. And when you say, hey, I'm not going to work with you, that's business talk for we're going to burn this bridge down. And as much as what people say or even try, repairing a bridge, hell, even building a bridge is way more harder than destroying it. So as a CEO and as a member of your company, you have to live, not only do you have to make that decision, but you have to live with it. And you can cry all you like, but that's just how business works, honey.
It is what it is.
having it turn into something that, through no fault of our own, saw my friends and my loved ones and my colleagues and my coworkers just viciously and brutally hurt. I felt bad for making a company at all. I felt bad for believing in it and for speaking on it. People would come up to me, especially at events like I went to GDC, and they would very kindly tell me that they were inspired by me or by us and by our collective strength and our resilience. And I would say thank you so much, but deeply I would feel very ashamed, which intellectually I know is wrong, right? We are doing something good. We are writers and designers of tremendous skill and tremendous experience, and we've never censored anything, nor have we ever wanted to, frankly. If you really want my opinion, larger games could be.
That is a lie!
Lying to your
Why the
fucking
fuck you
team.
lying?
Why the fuck you lying? Why the fuck you lying?
Oh my god. Stop fucking lying.
I also like the little bit where she's like, I am even the victim of your compliments. Your compliments are...
You fucking spineless git. You fucking spineless asshole. What the fuck?
Oh, let's get this replay on that.
Have we ever tremendous skill and tremendous experience, and we've never censored anything, nor have we ever wanted to, frankly, if you really want my opinion.
Expression as Joy 2019, you talked about how you directly wanted to make a change to a game, and you wanted to try and tell a female queer lesbian perspective of a male chauvinistic pig being bad on a date. Your suggestion led to an entire segment of content in the visual novel being completely gutted and removed as a result of your decisions, choices, perspective, and actions about political topics that have to do nothing with game design. Because realistically, on a visual novel, that's where you would have the biggest follow-through of the visual stimuli versus the word being said. But you, in your infinite wisdom, chose to basically say, and literally say, people attacking me for the things I do makes me feel bad. I'm going to now use my position to complain about this privileged position I'm in because I can't take accountability for the things I say and do. Everybody must be against me. Blase, blase.
Opinion, I think largely games could be hornier. I think they should be darker. I think they should be stranger.
Stop lying.
Ryan, no. They want to be hornier in a certain way.
Take as a company,
Not in the heterosexual way, but in the queer way.
But even they're still even cowardly about that. They don't really.
You're right.
They don't really fully show like full-on sexuality between women. They don't make it like erotic in any way. They go about it in a very like HR, like boardroom approved way.
They're
So
making
that-
it showy.
It's mature rated, but not adult rated. And like skirted on the line just a smidge, like this little smidge. Maybe a little nip slip, but that's it. That's wrong. And even then, that's too much. Also, when she said, let's make our games darker, I legitimately thought she was talking about either Darkwood or just taking the contrast and just making it dark.
Oh, she would love that. That would get rid of all those pesky whites.
I believe that representation is not censorship, it is innovation. Diversity makes things more...
There it is. There it is again.
Only if it's her kind of representation. Only if it's her kind.
Of course. If only it follows her representation, it's the only thing that matters. No one else's representation matters. It's only her representation that matters.
I rumble. Grumble, grumble.
More intense, it can make it more visceral and more real. It doesn't have to always make something more wholesome or softer.
But you did try to do things to make shit wholesome and softer because that is the aesthetic of people working on games narrative. Because the implicit idea of you wanting to pair these ideologies and this political pandering next to something that's going to have a visceral reaction and not try to soften the blow of it is preposterous. You're intelligent enough to understand that people do feel emotions and tie those emotions to situations. So, you don't want to cause disgust while talking about political propaganda that is literally the big movement of current year politics in the same breath as somebody taking the piss out of someone who's transgender. Then you'd be responsible for 3 levels of bigotry and racism.
I really do believe that by opening up to new perspectives, by getting folks in the room, we actually push more boundaries and we get more real. But
not if they're white. If they're white men, go cook the chicken bland and boil it in a pot of water and then give us the meat. Ridiculous.
what happens when you get harassed is it doesn't matter what you believe. What's also frustrating is that it doesn't matter what they believe either, because so much of this campaign is just misinformation. It's assumptions and lies about who we are, what we do, and what we want. We have worked on 80
name
games,
those lies.
as I've said before, and I think that's pretty cool.
Name them, we lied.
For them, it's something closer to 200.
Closer to 200. Name them.
Name when we lied. Name when somebody lied. Give me some examples here. Actually, break it down for me.
And if you're talking about misinformation, show us. Show us what's true, what's false. You can't just say anything that's misinformation. That's like me saying that the sky is green. There's going to be at least 10 to 20 people that's going to look up on the sky. I need you to quit with your pacifier, quit with your mic, and look at me in the face and tell me what's wrong. What's lying? What is the truth? What is the lie?
Believe. What's also frustrating is that
it
doesn't matter what they
Discord.
believe either.
Okay.
Because so much
It's being caused by me having to pause and start multiple times.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Of this campaign is just misinformation.
Let me plug my own headset. That's lovely. Hole. I can't find a hole. That's what he said.
Straight up, just bold-faced fucking lying to her faces is frustrating the shit out of me.
Well, it's not for us. It's for this audience of people who are already alongside her.
Of course, but it's just that it's really annoying that she's out here spreading misinformation while talking like we're the ones that are giving you misinformation. When we actually have fucking facts, we can actually look at things and say, "Oh, you said this, you said that, said this here. What do you mean by that?" And then when we try to hold you accountable, you're just like harassment, misinformation. It's like just own up to when you say shit. Own when you say
People
shit.
might believe this misinformation, but also it doesn't matter what anyone believes.
Mm-hmm.
Do and what we want. We have worked on 80 games, as I've said before, and I think that's pretty cool. But
Still haven't named them.
to them, it's something closer to 200.
Man, also 10 more
We have our
games.
little fingers, our woke little fingers, in every pie in this industry, and that's the other thing that happens, right? It's they take away your power in some ways, but they also ascribe to you this.
Shut the fuck up. That's what you're doing to other people. I called this fallacy out the other day, but I forgot exactly what this fallacy is called. The 25 to 35 most common fallacies in logical argumentation. And it's just a basic rule of the 48 laws of power. You are actively doing this all the time. You tried to minimize people who criticized you for your hypocritical standards and the follow-through behavior of your perspective, your philosophy, your morals, and your actions as a liaison company. But now, you're calling all of these people who criticized you bomb threat makers, doxers, harassers. You're trying to criticize them for something they're not doing, and you can't prove because you won't prove
they
it.
did call her dog gay.
And that's the real crime.
Well, it's only because it had that stupid fucking progress flag. If it was a regular flag, I'd be totally fine with it.
Enormous power. They will claim that you are rich, that you are backed by, shadowy cabals, government orgs. They claim you have the ability to force their favorite studios to bend to your whim.
Yeah, no, we have that power, right? We're all in the cabal.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh.
we do nothing. We don't buy their games. And they're like, we're not making enough money. We're gonna go under.
I've already talked to Pete Hines right now. I've already said for him, put a chicken in and make gay. I've already said Pete Hines, what's his name? Other guy. The lead dev for Destiny 2, lead dev for Space Marine, put a chick in it and make her gay. We're the cabal.
Truth, which is that studios and teams hire us to make stories better. Not woker, but actually better.
Better how?
Yeah, because it was so much better that Miles was a billboard for fucking shoes, right? So much better. So much better for you to do that.
What does this say about your opinion of black men?
Yeah, what does that say about you? What do you think of them?
The only way you can get niggas to look at your game is to get them to look at the shoes. All them blacks, all they care about is chicken, women, fat ass women, and shoes. Ridiculous.
And believe me, when this first started, I was so worried that studios would stop working with us. I worried we seemed too toxic.
Why would you worry about that? What do you have to worry about if you have nothing to be concerned for?
Wait. Word of me about seeing too toxic. I wonder whose fault that was. I wonder whose fault that was that created that notion. Who did that? Could have been one of your staff, maybe?
They worried we seemed too dangerous, too beleaguered, too much of a risk to work with, but that is not what happened. What happened was, at least privately, every team we worked with was quite supportive. The external side...
Privately.
Yeah, privately.
Privately, they supported us. We have a lot of videos to get through. I'm not trying to cut you off. Privately, they supported you, but publicly, they held their tongue because they understand what business they work in. Crazy.
I'll say was
It may not
deafening at
be
times
even
and also
bad.
frustrating, but
I'm sorry.
It's not.
It may not be.
Yeah, it's not even bad. Go ahead.
Sorry. It's not even that, because there could be also those other companies, like maybe even a Ubisoft or Microsoft or even a Sony, that don't like that. But when you are legitimately just small pennies compared to how much they're paying for all other companies, all the other contracts that they subbed out or anything like that, you are literally a pity company. And if the going gets rough, and if shit hits the fan, which is currently happening right now, all they can do is just cut you loose. And they don't even have to tell you a message. They don't even have to send you an email. They can literally cut you off, like how they cut all these other game companies, like fucking the guys that made Hi-Fi Rush, the same companies like Deck 13 or fucking Pandemic. And basically every company that EA had owned and then gutted, they can immediately cut you off. But the reason why they never cut you off, because you're a pity company.
It's hilarious considering that those guys were profitable. You're just a superfluous thing, and yet somehow you're still around. It's like, I don't think for much longer, but still, it's hilarious to me.
I know you guys want to get in all your thoughts, but there's a lot that needs to be gotten through.
Okay,
So
sorry.
such is the way of corporate. And it was still nice fundamentally, I think, to realize that studios, teams, and individuals still wanted us around and still saw our value.
In using you for marketing.
I will say, though, is also a very disorienting experience, because what happens when you get harassed is that you realize that most of it is just noise and that nothing functionally or fundamentally changes.
So then why did you change your website? You're just reacting at noise? You're schizophrenic?
People say, I'm so sorry for what you're dealing with, but could I get that script on Monday? And you say, yeah, it sucks. Anyway.
Yeah, it's called doing your job.
Yeah.
I will get that to you Monday, though, because there is no time off. There is no stop.
That's how you should be doing that.
You can monetize a hate video, but there is no hazard pay for harassment. And we are not.
You don't deserve hazard pay for harassment. There's more argument that a streamer could deserve hazard pay for harassment because of the not even 1%, not even 10%, 15 to 50% chance that a person will go out of their way to fuck with you because you aggrieved them once. Or if you're a kick streamer, there's a 0% chance that Jack Doherty will crash his car into you and then beg for money online when he's worth millions. And if you're his coworker, there's a non-0% chance that he's going to expect you to keep recording as you're bleeding from your forehead.
Not, despite what you may have heard, so moneyed that we can just take a break or take a vacation and chill. So by day we work.
But you do. You literally can say, yes, we're going to finish this work and then we're shutting down for a mental health day for these 3 days of the week. You can talk about this with any kind of organizer for the project. If that's what you need to do, then that's what you need to do. And then they bring in another consultancy firm. So what you're arguing is that doing the work, air quote, work, is more important than the mental health of you and your employees. Okay, so you admit that you're willing to do this because you want to keep up your notoriety and money. So it's about notoriety and money. So you care desperately and deeply about the fact that you're being criticized from all these groups. So you know what you're doing. Fuck you.
Worked. And meanwhile, all around us, the noise continues. And This is here because I remember one evening I was coming home and I was like, all right, I've dealt with too much today. I'm just going to relax by going to the Yakuza subreddit, which I have to say 99% of the time is a wonderful space. It's very funny and the people are pretty nice. But not even thinking, I scrolled past a joke about Sweet Baby Inc. And the thing is,
Scrolled past harassment? I thought you needed to single boost every single example of it.
Service of this great subreddit, it was actually well-intentioned. It was not a joke intended to make fun of us. It was intended to make fun of the campaign, but the strangeness of it...
But you don't have the meme on hand? Oh, man, that's crazy. I guess I'm just going to take your word for it, just like everything else you're saying with no evidence.
Still, of it being everywhere, of it feeling inescapable, but meaning nothing in my day-to-day was too utterly bizarre. And
it can't mean nothing because you're using an example of how your story and how your work is directly affecting the industry. So it's not for nothing. If anything, it demonstrates you're not a very good YouTuber with the mind for content because you're not demonstrating talking points that you could easily be able to set flip and demonstrate should we have the chance to do so during certain situations for testing purposes. But okay, let's assume that you work on the level of a normal games reviewer. Okay.
Beyond just having to mute a wonderful, wonderful safe place for myself, I also
I wanted to quit that. Then quit. I said the same shit about the guy the other day that was trying to pour shame his audience, complaining about losing 1/5 of his income in his entire fucking mind because you said mean words that made my wife cry when she read them. Okay, quit. You ain't gotta work here. Quit. Find a new job. You can't do it. Get filtered. If it's so hard, if you're complaining about this, stop. Tell all of your employees we're packing it in. I don't like the harassment. I don't like being made to feel bad. We're stopping all of what we're doing, and we're going to finish at the end of this fiscal quarter. But that's not the problem. You want to train on stage for attention. That's what you're doing right now.
I wanted to quit. I wanted to leave the company. I wanted to do something else. I'll tell you that running a self-funded business in a very volatile industry is very hard on a good day, especially when you do something with us. But
I'm a self-invested business owner. Oh, life is so hard for me.
I'm worth millions of dollars. Please feel pity for me.
And it's hard, let alone when like Elon Musk is like crawling bleary-eyed out of his money pit to tell us that we deserve to go broke.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious coming from you. That is hilarious.
Rocket Man bad.
Funny.
Rocket Man bad.
It's a disaster, but what happens when you get harassed is also that you realize all you have is each other. And you can maybe call it trauma bonding, but when there are no prizes...
It is trauma bonding.
And no funds and no vacations and as compensation, right? And the only thing you have on your plate is suddenly your widely derided work. You also start to make more space for each other. You start to recognize that the work will sometimes feel thankless, but that you still love it. And you love it, fortunately or unfortunately, because you get to do it together as a team. And for us, that means we're doing it as Sweet Baby Inc.
Okay, so here's a question, Kim. What about all those content creators that are separated amongst themselves that then learn that there are other people with like-minded opinions, and they all happen to make topics and cover each other's videos talking about the topics that they choose to be passionate about? And even when you try to frame their opinions as outset baby rage, despite the fact that they're just being passionate, what do they get to do the same thing? When they're being harassed by people who are who are literally trying to deplatform their ability to create and their ability to make money? Okay, so good for thee. Rules for me. Okay, alright, okay, When you do it, it's not a harassment campaign. When other people do it without actually working together on the same problem, they deserve 5 to 10, okay?
What happens when you get harassed is that you forget who you are, but then you remember. We are writers, we are storytellers, we are narrative designers, we are creative, we are passionate, we are funny, and we are doing this because we love it. We love it so much.
Okay, let's take every single one of those advice columns and let's put them on people like myself, Smash JT, That Star Wars Girl, the majority of the Phantom Menace, Nerdrotic, etc. Put it on all of them. Do we get to call ourselves these things too? Can we also be love?
No, because you're harassing people by just saying things.
In fact, that we'll do it even through the worst months of our lives, because our lives ultimately are about stories. And as I wrap up, I want to say that that's frustrating too, because it makes it really hard to talk about. There is an instinct, I think, in all of us, or at least a desire to tell a good story. And this whole thing, whatever it is, isn't a very good story. There's not much of an arc, and frankly, there is no resolution as yet.
Oh no, there is a resolution. Once upon a time, there was a company called Sweet Baby Inc. It was founded by Kim Bel-Air and David Bedard. And they also happened to find another company, which was called Secret Baby, alongside the creator and owner of Tales of Kanzari Azal, another game that you worked on directly with him, specifically helping him found the company for the purposes of running it, which was in its own capacity a game that had a lot of potential, that even if it had your, quote, stink on it, it showed itself to be a good game with a lot of potential. And instead of being admonished for the things that you liked to make, you were admonished for the things that you were trying to take control over. And then, after a harassment campaign, and then defense of the harassment campaign, you decided to victim blame other people. Then people noticed. Then you got mad that people noticed. Then you got mad that people used your face in content. Then you got mad that people had the ability to figure out who you were. Then you had a problem with every single person who told you who you are and how you're behaving, and you still being upset at them for reasons that you can't explain in front of a live studio audience without sounding like a schizomaniac. It's simple. That's the story. Because that's the truth. Stop being ridiculous. You're being ridiculous.
Sometimes a story is just what happens. And what happens is you get hurt, you feel bad, you get tired, you get scared, you get angry, you get sad, you get really, really good at Elden Ring.
Elden Ring, I know that.
I'm great at it.
Wow, Elden Ring, a really good game that actually doesn't have any of the bullshit that you have. Maybe you should actually look at that and actually take some notes from it instead of just being a bitch about everything.
You name check Elden Ring, like by saying Elden Ring, you're going to get the majority of most of the quote hate off of you. I said that I liked the popular game, guys. I liked the popular game. Give me the ability to do things because I played the popular game.
Please clap.
Please clap.
Please clap.
Please clap.
But after that, you get back to work. Because what happens when you get harassed is that you have to live with it, and they have to live with you. And so we'll see, I guess, what happens next.
You not living with it and running away like a bitch?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Although I wonder, has this woman actually ever been bullied in her life?
In moments when this movement...
According to what's about to come through on all of these harassment channels, yes. Right. First video of all the coverage. Smash JT.
Up like another reason to attack us, they would just kind of move on to other groups who they perceive to be like us, all while doing the work of erasing all of those people's and our actual jobs and interest and papering over it with kind of that rallying cry of far right supremacy, DEI.
A funny thing happened when I was editing my video talking about how Sweet Baby Inc.'s website was completely dismantled and removed a whole bunch of very vital information that allowed us to use them as a resource to find out what games they worked on, so we knew what we could avoid. They took away all the game companies, all the client lists, all the games they used to work on, and it's just a straight up bare bones website right now. And I was editing that video and I was like, oh, I need some B-roll footage because I talk about Kim Bel-Air here. Let me look her up. You know what I typically do when I'm making a video? I like to emphasize and drive home the points. So I look up the information. And sure enough, wouldn't you know it, they posted a video that same day of Kim Bel-Air talking at the XOXO Fest about the hate campaign that gamers have gone on against Sweet Baby Inc. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. And this video that I stumbled upon last night accidentally exposes exactly what the thinking is behind the scenes at Sweet Baby Inc., how they refuse to take any accountability whatsoever for their actions, and how they off-put and place the blame on the gaming community in general to enable Sweet Baby Inc. to play the perpetual victim, going so far as to up to and including hating on Elon Musk and calling him a buffoon, because apparently it's totally fine for Kim Bel-Air and Sweet Baby Inc. to call other people names, but God forbid anyone hold Sweet Baby Inc. accountable for the awful things that they do.
True.
Subscribe, give me a like, and check out SmashJT.com for the full article breaking down how Kim Bel-Air took the stage at the XOXO Fest 2024, discussing the hate campaign against Sweet Baby Inc. and just how awful gamers are in general, and why Sweet Baby Inc. is just so misunderstood. And if people would just let them do their thing, there wouldn't be any problems. They could take the money from these game companies, completely ruin the franchises, and everyone's happy.
What happens when you get harassed is also that you realize all you have is each other. And you can maybe call it trauma bonding, but when there are no prizes and no funds and no vacations and as compensation, right, and the only thing you have on your plate is suddenly your widely derided work, you also start to make more space for each other. You start to recognize that the work will sometimes feel thankless, but that you still love it. And you love it, fortunately or unfortunately, because you get to do it together as a team, and for us, that means we're doing it as Sweet Baby Inc.
Bel-Air attempted to paint a rosy picture of her company and herself as the perpetual victims of an unjust hate campaign at the XOXO Fest 2024, but she conveniently left out any context whatsoever, important key details explaining why the gaming community, up to and including Elon Musk, have taken issue with SBI in the first place.
In my circles, I'm largely considered, I think, a relatively nice person. These are my dogs, Sage and Flaky. These are my cats, Tag and the Gray Boy. I really enjoy Lego. I collect skulls and taxidermy, and I also really like playing a lot of video games, including Elden Ring.
Notice how she takes the approach of, oh, I'm just this girl in the game industry. I'm just totally misunderstood. You know,
I'm just a normal man. We're just normal men here.
Yep,
We're just
completely
innocent men.
normal.
We're just normal men.
just want to make the games great. We got these great people working with us, but these awful gamers are just trying to ruin our lives with this awful hate campaign.
Yeah, it made us realize that this was huge. We were being attacked in a massive and coordinated campaign of harassment, and that sucks. But it does get me closer to the question of what happens when you get harassed.
Bel-Air presents herself as a narrative expert, but after painfully watching this entire speech, it was clear that her true expertise lies in the lies, spinning a story where her company is always the wronged party, and never, ever acknowledging any wrongdoing or accountability, ever. Have you guys noticed a trend here, by the way, with people
that's the
on
narrative
that side,
she's an
how they
expert
refuse
in.
to accept any accountability, how they refuse to tell the full story, how they refuse to say, oh, you know what, could have been better here, that's why this is happening? No, there is zero acknowledgement of that. It's always someone else's fault. The perpetual victim syndrome, it is happening right here, clear as day.
Tell us, Kim. What was that? Where in that discussion that JT just put forth with his opinions, where was the harassment there? You said they were harassment campaigning you. Where was the campaign? Where was the call to action there? All he did was just frame exactly what you said. Where was the call to action to harass you? Where in the video is he going to call for people to give you death threats? I hope it's in here soon. Don't we want to hold these people accountable for what they did to you?
That's me. I'm the CEO. I have issues. But yeah, this went on for weeks and then months. At its peak, which was somewhere around like February, March of this year, we were getting something like 300 emails a day, which admittedly some of those are going to be spam or bots or whatever it is, but they were often accompanied by death threats, threats to our family. We did have one bomb threat made to the police that they contacted us about, and at best, the nicest thing you would see in some of these spaces was that we were a punchline. But any defenders were really, really shouted down quite quickly. And in moments when this movement couldn't dig up like another reason to attack us, they would just kind of move on to other groups who they perceived to be like us.
The audience was being fed the idea that Sweet Baby Inc. is just a small, kind group of lovingly passionate developers that just have a passion for making games awesome, and they were being targeted by harassment.
Carl, can you pause for a second?
She made zero mention of why.
I don't. The video isn't showing up on your YouTube stream. Could you put it up there?
Yeah, it's broke again. Every time I have to change it, it sometimes just breaks. Thank you.
Oh.
People are genuinely upset
No
at
problem.
them. It was honestly baffling how anyone could listen to this and not come away with questions. Is it SBI that's a problem? No, it must be the gamers because they're holding us accountable, and that's not okay. That's not acceptable because we're just these nice people like Chris Kindred that tried to get Brutus canceled, tried to get me fired from my job, calling me a racist when he called in with his own phone number, by the way, which showed up there, and I saw it because I looked it up, and his phone number's on his own website.
OPSEC. And then, of course, this gem of a person from the Game Devs of Color.
God, not that again.
How we had Wild, another Sweet Baby Inc. employee who once gave a presentation within the past year talking about anti-white rhetoric, how white people are really the problem in all of this, and hating the game industry, wanting to burn it down.
That discomfort, or the place where whiteness doesn't have to live, is where some of the best stories are told.
And I'm not even going to get into my awful things that person has been saying online for a very long time, now that they've migrated over to Blue Sky, which all these people always do, because apparently it's Elon Musk's fault for buying Twitter and giving people, I don't know, free speech, and they can't handle it because it doesn't fit their narrative, so in turn, everyone else is a problem, so we now need to run away.
As ridiculous and stupid as it all was, I actually was not prepared for the escalation of it when noted buffoon and Twitter CEO Elon Musk decided that he would chime in with his very cool thoughts. Yeah, some very cool, very good thoughts in there. Lots to think about.
Bel-Air even took a moment to throw a jab at Elon Musk, who she labeled herself as noted buffoon, almost as if she's allowed to call other people names or whatever she wants, but as soon as anyone labels her, it's, oh no, everyone's a racist bigot. Rules for me, not for thee, in full swing with all of this.
This was hard the whole time, like, not since the beginning, it wasn't great, but, we were receiving countless emails, all this constant hate. It was targeted enough to feel disconcerting even when it was kind of silly, and it was also kind of drowning out the support, but when Elon chimed in, it really made me realize the scale of it, because the richest man in the world was suddenly turning like the Eye of Sauron onto 16 people trying to make a pretty modest living in the industry that they love, and he was arguing for our collapse. And this meant that, it was when this happened and when it got bigger than this, you can tell I got it early as a screenshot, but yeah, it made us realize that this was huge. We were being attacked in a massive and coordinated campaign of harassment, and that sucks.
The reality is, companies that continue to work with Sweet Baby Inc. always seem to find themselves mired in failure and financial.
Doing all that heavy breathing. Okay.
Ruin, on the verge of bankruptcy, or straight up going bankrupt. Their involvement seems to almost guarantee failure. But rather than address the concerns honestly and upfront, Kim Bel-Air continues to weave this tale where Sweet Baby Inc. is the perpetual victim, refusing to take any responsibility for her team's actions, and instead blaming the entire world for the problems that have been created because of Sweet Baby Inc.'s existence.
Hey, a narrative development company, what does that mean? I'm really interested. We were found by kind of, 4chan and the worst people on Twitter. And looking back, there is a funny element to it where I go like, people were kind of talking like, I discovered a secret Canadian company. Like, these are the guys who did it. And the discovery that they had made was actually like our public-facing website that we advertise our services on, and which you can go to right now if you'd like to collaborate with us or just learn more. It's not hidden.
I gotta be honest with you guys, watching this presentation was stomach-turning. It was an exercise in watching someone dodge accountability while also claiming to be targeted unfairly. The sad truth is, this isn't about harassment or hate campaigns at all. This is about the gaming community rightfully calling out an awful company with awful people occupying it who have failed to deliver on the projects and also act with impunity, causing harm to others without any consequences or accountability. The gamers are not the problem here, Kim. You are. Accept it, take some accountability, and be proactive next time you give one of these speeches saying, hey, you know what? Some of our employees have done some things that are reprehensible, horrific, things that no one at any company should ever do to anyone ever. And for that, we are taking the appropriate response at our company. We have taken the steps to rectify that, and hopefully moving forward will be better for it. But here's the thing with Sweet Baby Inc. and Kim Bel-Air specifically. I don't know David Bedard as much, but I'd assume the same with him as well, because obviously not a sexist thing here, it's just what it is. These people are not equipped to be CEOs of a company. They are letting their employees run wild, do whatever the hell they want, say whatever the hell they want, ruin the game community, attack the gamers, and then cry victim when people give it right back to them. This is the perpetual victim mentality, and these people up top are not prepared to hold their own employees accountable. Because of that, it's all falling apart. So at this point, Kim, take some accountability. Make an apology to the community. Tell everyone you're sorry, you did the wrong thing, you took the wrong approach, you are fully understanding and grasping what's happening here, and you are making severe changes to what your company's been doing, the people that work there, to put it on the right track. But we already know that's not going to happen. I'm just saying this is why everyone hates you, as you always say it, because we want the games to be better. We don't want to be fed BS, which you keep doing every time you have one of these presentations. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. If you guys want more information for the full video, if you want to sit through this, I will link it in the description below on the SmashJT.com article. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button.
At the very least, he put it on his .com article.
Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
What happens when you get harassed is that...
So where was the harassment, Kim? Where did Smash GT call for your doxing, threatening, harassment, bomb threatening, and destruction of your catos and doggos? Where did it happen? Is it like Lightning Returns? Is there a secret partition of an extra hour of time on this content where it's just his voice playing backwards saying, "Kill John Lennon"? Where is it? Doesn't seem to be here. Maybe we'll find it on the next one. Just say, I can find the one that I just had in front of me. I just had it. There it is. Sweet Baby losing everything.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're here.
This one is from Rev Says Desu. Check to make sure this is working here. Yes, working. Yes, working. Boom, boom. Done. Boom.
So today we're going to talk about the continued destruction of Sweet Baby Inc. 2024 has been a very rough year for this woke consulting firm. Essentially, they got discovered back in February when one of its employees started a harassment campaign against a then very small Steam group called Sweet Baby Inc. Detected. We all know how that story played out. It had the Streisand effect. It blew up the group, and then people started looking at this Sweet Baby Inc. company and looking at their website and seeing their client list and their agenda and some of the games they've worked on. And as a result, anyone associated with Sweet Baby has had a very rough year. People are rejecting anything they're associated with because people are concerned about what kind of woke DEI garbage is going to end up in those products if they work with Sweet Baby. This company has essentially become a death mark. Nobody wants to be publicly associated with Sweet Baby. And now Sweet Baby finds itself in a tough position where they have to rebrand in a way that deals with their negative reputation among gamers. And they're doing just that. So essentially, Sweet Baby nuked their own website and recreated it in a way that I believe is trying to continue pushing its woke agenda, but doing it behind the scenes and also doing so while continuing to work with their current clients, but doing so in a very private way. So what happened? Well, if you had an old link to the website and you use it, you're brought to this page, essentially an error 404 type message saying this page does not seem to exist. Now, they have restructured their website, and as someone who has been on this website a lot of times this year, to do research for videos, I can tell you a lot of changes did occur, and I think they're very important to look at. So here is the new website. You can see they have the same old hypnotic design that's very strange, and their strange mascot is still there, but there are some changes beginning with their top section here, the About.
It's not really that strange. It's just a lollipop design.
section where it says, Sweet Baby Inc. is an award-winning team of writers and narrative designers who help make stories better. With over 30 games shipped from AAA, indie, and solo developers, we are not just contractors, we are storytellers who can take your project to the next level. So this is very interesting. If you know anything about Sweet Baby, you're probably surprised to see not a single mention of diversity, inclusion, equity, nothing like that. If you looked at this message from their About section, you would just think they're narrative consultants. They're just helping people write better stories. It has nothing to do with DEI. Now, of course, we have some archives of their former website. This is their previous About section that says this. Founded in 2018, Sweet Baby Inc. is a narrative development and consultation studio based in Montreal and working around the globe. Our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video games industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. So you see this mention of empathetic stories, diversifying, and also more inclusion, and all of that stuff has been ripped from the current About section. Now, there's a few small...
So, where can Bel-Air inside of says Desu's content coverage of the situation, where did he, even though it looks like a female, it's a he, where did he call for doxing, stalking, destruction, and harassment of your company? Perhaps I'm not working hard enough. Let's go find Vara Dark's channel.
I mean, there's gotta be somebody, right? There has to be some unhinged motherfucker among this, right? Right?
Is the harassment campaign in the room with us right now?
Yes, it's me, the black man.
Sweet Baby Inc. is filled with actors who constantly...
I'm in somebody's walls.
Giggity.
Cry victim. Instead of actually listening to our criticisms around their company, they completely ignore our feedback and say that we're ists and phobes.
Also, she's got a tweet up. What happens when you get harassed? A Sweet Baby story. What about your team trying to get creative deplatformed? What about your consultants claiming they want to burn the industry to the ground? That's okay. This victimhood narrative is nauseatingly old.
And that we are harassing them. And that is exactly what is going on right now, because Kim Bel-Air decided to go to the XOXO festival, and she talked for 20 minutes about how gamers are so mean. And we've started a harassment campaign, allegedly, towards Sweet Baby. And of course, right there, I'm one of the creators they highlight. But before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, the people at SBI love to play victim. I mean, it's a narrative that is nauseatingly old at this point, and instead of simply talking about how she disagrees with gamers' backlash towards the company, and she would love to be able to sit and explain what they actually do, she knows that she's been caught in 4K altering and censoring games. She knows that gamers do not trust her, and she has this 20-minute almost TED Talk where she constantly complains about gamers and also content creators like myself, where she cries about backlash that she and the team has faced, saying that, oh my gosh, we've worked on so many games that were so popular, like God of War, Ragnarok, and Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2, and these mean individuals are simply attacking us, which, of course, she doesn't want to have a genuine conversation about the criticisms we have, given they turned the comments off, they disabled the dislikes, not very shocking, but it's her just spewing complete and utter lies. I mean, she's a narrative designer, and oh boy, she sure is designing a narrative of victimhood here. I don't plan to play this whole entire thing, but of course, she loves to bring up how they're really not that big of a company and how they've really only worked on about 80 games, even though liars on the internet claim that they've worked on over 200. But yes, even though you've only worked on, let's say, 80 games, we are not talking about just small indie teams. We are talking about you working with Xbox Game Studios, Sony Santa Monica, Rocksteady. We're talking about you working on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. We're talking about you working on Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2 and God of War Ragnarok. Like, we are pointing out that you have affected the end content that we have gotten, and you're not working for just indie teams. You do have influence within this industry. And she tries to claim that, oh my gosh, people are trying to silence us, and she says she's lost her voice. But unfortunately for them, they didn't lose their voice. What happened was people just stopped listening to them. But it's also not entirely true, because she literally is speaking to an audience at a festival. So how exactly did she lose her voice? Who knows? She brings up on
magical
the screen,
misogyny
some
powers.
quotes that
That's how it lost.
she found that were particularly bothersome. Sweet Baby Inc. are basically a branch of BlackRock that consults on ESG and gaming. Basically, if you want ESG funding, you need to pass the scores by this company. Every AAA American game studio has been outsourcing their game writing to this shitty ESG obsessed company. And then if you ever thought every modern AAA feels written by exactly the same people, it's because they basically are. Yeah, the individuals within the industry love to claim that they are all for diversity and inclusion, but it's never diversity of thought and opinion and creative processes. We see time and time again again, people who do lean more conservative be blacklisted from the industry and be shunned. And these activists do not sit here and say, whoa, wait, we support diversity of thought. They are fine with those conservatives being pushed out of the industry simply because they do not align with these activists' political opinions and ideologies, which is just disgusting, in my opinion. But instead of just simply saying, hey, listen, there's content creators online who do not like what I've said or do not like what I've done, they're allowed to have their opinion, I'm allowed to have mine, she targets us. And it's not even just me. As you can see on the screen, there are a ton of content creators here that she has decided to bring up. We, of course, have It's a Gundam. We have, it's just so funny to me. We have Hypnotic. We have Clownfish TV. We have Yellow Flash. Rev Says Desu. There is Okayel. There's a plethora of content creators here who simply have criticized Sweet Baby Inc. And that is not illegal. I'm allowed to sit here and criticize what a company is doing. But to make it even worse, not only did she just decide to go on this unhinged rant that, yes, was uploaded online, she talks about Elon Musk and about how this evil rich man is targeting her company because back in March he had made a post saying Sweet Baby Inc. is an evil blight on the gaming industry. All they do is make games terrible and try to cancel people. They cannot go broke soon enough, and she really takes that personally, which it's not a lie. That's the thing, is that when Gamergate 2 started and Kabrutus made Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, or now it's known as DEI Detected, he simply had said this is a list so that people can be educated, so that people can understand what this company is doing and how they're affecting video games, and it spans, far beyond just Sweet Baby Inc. But if you are somebody who likes Sweet Baby Inc., you're an activist and you want to support SBI, you could go down this list and you could purchase all of these titles. The reason why she's angry is because it's not working for her anymore. The grift is up. She followed in the footsteps of people like Anita Sarkeesian and Zoe Quinn during Gamergate 1, but she's not seeing, people sit here and defend her tooth and nail like what happened with Feminist Frequency. The media was completely behind FF. And while, yes, a lot of media outlets did initially defend SBI and narrative consultation companies, that's not really happening anymore. A lot of them are silent because they see the voice that gamers have and how we are willing to speak up when we are upset about something, when we are not happy about the content that is being put into video games. And it is true, all Sweet Baby Inc. does is try to cancel people. They targeted Kabrutus when he made SBI Detected. Chris Kindred and the whole lot of them, like Felix, wanted his list removed from Steam and also his social accounts to be deleted. That didn't work. That blew up in their faces. But we also just had recently seen an SBI employee admitting their goal is burning the games industry to the ground. This is why people hate Sweet Baby Inc. They take a game, they infect it with their ideologies, they ruin experiences, and they hate us in the process. They expect us to open up our wallets to buy their trash, and it's not working anymore. People are sick and tired of purchasing and monetarily supporting activism-filled slop. And at the end of the day, she's saying, oh, we've been targeted by this harassment campaign, when all their employees are doing is starting a harassment campaign against content creators and gamers, and that is what she is doing by getting up on the stage, and she's boasting about how they've worked on so many big games, but they happen to take some flack for it. They faced harassment, because if harassment and criticism are not the same, and I as a content creator and you as a consumer are allowed to criticize these individuals and their decisions. So it will be interesting to see if Kim decides to make another statement now that she's brought herself a lot of negative attention by compiling these thumbnails together, and she's basically targeting any content creators who do not like Sweet Baby Inc. But I also am going to be keeping an eye on their website, because I did just talk about this in another video. It will be linked down below. But Sweet Baby Inc. completely redesigned their website to remove their client in games list, as well as hide their woke agenda, which I do think this is all kind of a coordinated effort to try to go into lockdown mode. Because she made that statement, then the website was redesigned, and maybe they will add the client and games list back, but I highly doubt so. I'll be keeping my eye on this situation, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I will talk to you all again in the next video really soon.
Where's the harassment, Kim?
Where is it at? Where is it at?
It does not exist.
So, high or low? Do you do damage by making a video? No. Do you do damage by going on stage at an event and putting 10, 15, 100 people's names, either by proxy or by minutes, in a video? Yes. High or low? Is this acceptable? Is this fair? Don't all answer at once. I would say it's not fair.
Acceptable. It's not fair, and quite personally, I think it's very unprofessional.
So, person who works in the business of delivering to customers hates their customers, and they hate making the things that they're doing, but they love the access it's granting them. Why does Kim Bel-Air get to do this? This is the first thing. Second thing is, what's the opinion of the Act Man? We'll see real harassment when we see the Act Man's opinion.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Ironically, he didn't make a response to this, I don't think. But you put all these content creators' names in there, and all their content, because I need to make dinner at some point, so I believe that is pretty much all the things I wanted to hit. Yeah. It's horrible. I needed more. Unfortunately, it's all going to be the same thing. Everyone is alike in this, and yes, Kirsch was also not here too. All of the flesh tubers, as apparently on-screen accounts are being called, and the PNG tubers and the VTubers, complete content creative erasure. But you get the right to basically put them on blast. But they don't get the right to put you on blast. But then you want to take the spoils that come from making the work, but you don't want to be held to the accountable standard of what's being done to make that work popular in the first place. That's stupid, and that's not fair. All of this changes overnight if the industry decides you're no longer profitable. And I think they're getting there, but they're not quite completely there yet. My standard of making you not profitable is they realize that they can't do business with people like you ever again, and just not the same company again. Because they could quit her and then go to GameRacks. They could quit her and go to Black Girl Gamers. You'll never truly be free of it. But that is Kimmy's opinion. What do we think about that, Benedict in chat? Have we already talked it all out?
I think it's incredibly annoying that we'll never actually be free of this.
We will never be free. There will be problems, always.
I think it will pass, because at the end of the day, sure, they might have influenced a few people. They have influenced places like Ubisoft, people like Microsoft, people like EA, but as we see right now, their money is going against the dirt. And there are talks about happening where maybe Tencent might buy them up, maybe Saudi Arabia might buy them up, a few Saudi princes. I wouldn't even be mad if, say, there's an African warlord that starts going into video games and he's going to get bought up. And all it takes is just that one call to say, hey, we're not going to have you. And not only that, but also blacklists that can happen as well. All it takes is just a few names, and you'll be completely gutted from the industry. Now, you might have a few, say, indies, might have a few people that still help you out, but your reputation follows you.
Yeah, your reputation might at that point. Because what it seems like to me, especially I like that you brought up that thing before. It seems to me that the ESG companies, both those that write the checks and those that enforce the checks and balances, it appears that this is having the effect of dropping company values to greater stock market prices so that they can be purchased in a full acquisition for the companies trying to get the workhorse off of themselves and latch it to someone else. This is the case for Ubisoft, and they did it themselves. But for any of these companies that they just hired them for a piece of work and all they end up getting is level of annoyance from people that shouldn't be situated with playing the game in the first place, effectively getting away with playing the second game a lot, or the first order magnitude and the second order magnitude, from being forced to address the problem and then just losing money naturally. Instead, it seems that you're being purchased by these Chinese companies, if it's Tencent, or you're being purchased by big conglomerate American companies that operate in the Midwest to evade the stigmata that comes with being beamed in the head by a brick boulder. And I think it's a good thing that they're losing their power like that overnight, because we wouldn't be here if you didn't set out with the intended goal of making something into something it's not. You didn't have to create the circumstance of 50%, 55% of what your company's known for. You naturally landed on that color, and you naturally went there to that well in that time of need. I would say fill the well. Let them starve. Like, fill the well, let them starve, never let them have it. Do real boycotts. Don't just say you're going to boycott one game and then buy a different game. Do real boycotts of their content. And then just pray. Because just like Anita Sarkeesian had her zeitgeist and then she fell off, she's going to have her zeitgeist and she's going to fall off. Both her and her company. And that would be her calling me to make dinner. So, thank you for coming through. I gotta go be a cook now. Talk amongst yourselves. Talk amongst yourselves. Go to CCM. Do what you wish. Hang out with each other.
Hey, bye, Carl. Have a good dinner.
Wait, Carl.